G'day guys and welcome back to another episode of the Cocktails Podcast. And on this week, Dane, we have a proper special guest and a very good mate.
Oh, yeah.
Daddy Marto, a.k.a. Matt Martin. He's the owner and founder of Outback Predator Fishing on all the socials and an absolute top bloke at that.
And many people don't know, he's the people who I cut my teeth on in tournament fishing.
Yeah.
I was the green on his boat that decided, you're all right, mate, let's have a go.
So he's let Dane have a crack for his first tournament fish and he's hooked ever since. But, mate, as we get into the yarn, Marto talks about his old school fishing, back on the bogan.
Back on the bogan, all the way up to Hamilton Island.
And from Spanish Mac to Murray Cod, mate, that is a good yarn.
Let's go.
It was one of you two in fucking camp. No, it was you. I'm fucking positive. There was fucking... I'm glad. Yeah, okay. Now I remember where it was and when it happened. It was when we were up the back near that other fucking house. And you could hear those fucking women yahooing and cheering. This guy, Kez's cousin is in the back. And he's like, fuck me dead ass. I'm glad you're not beelining towards them cunts. I was like,
no, I said it wouldn't have been that long ago. You would have been fucking floating up there and trying to walk up there and introduce yourself.
I was like,
Oh, dear.
no, I wasn't like that.
No, not me. You're talking about
I said it wasn't that long ago when you still. I didn't say, fucking, I was trying to hold you back.
Yeah,
I didn't have a noose around your fucking legs trying to fucking get you.
Fucking got me.
I just said it wouldn't have been that long ago that he would have heard that fucking voice that he would have been trying to fucking clamp it through them trees trying to get up there.
fucking kicking me.
Top lip going up in the air, having a sniff.
Big moose call.
Oh, bullshit. Your old top lip up.
Yeah, fucking hell. Righto, welcome back to another week of the Codtails Podcast, and this one is our first guest of the year, and a very special one to us as well, Daddy Martin. How are you, mate?
Good. Legend, yeah, very well.
That's good, mate.
Now, if some of you do recognise, we've talked about Matty a fair few times on this podcast.
He's been mentioned as Matty Martin, Daddy Martin, King of the Campfire.
Yep.
Yeah. So Outback Predator is also his socials as well, so go check them out. He does some pretty cool shit. But
try and keep it going, yeah.
Try and catch fish too.
Yeah, well, it's always a struggle, but it's the pursuit. Part of the adventure, as we say.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Well, speaking of adventure, how'd you get into fishing?
Oh, shit. I grew up out at Ningat in the bush, so we're always been involved in farms and rural and pig chasing and goats and yabbying and just generally outdoors all the time. Like we were never inside. And I just had family that was involved in fishing and yabbying and camping, dad, great aunties and uncles. So I remember when I was a kid, a great uncle and aunties used to ring me up on a Saturday morning saying, what are you doing? And I'd go up to the old phone and say, oh, we're not doing anything. And they'd say, oh, we'll pick you up in an hour. We're heading out to Gunnabar Creek or Duck Creek or somewhere, and you just go fishing for the day. Or Dad would say, let's go fishing at Oxley or over at somewhere this weekend. And then it's got more serious, and we'd have holidays camping, and it was, I think the bit that really got me was as part of the adventure, like if we planned a big fishing trip, like going over the Barwon or the Darling, it was the week leading up. Like there's days spent yabbying, and your yabbying means you're going around the dams and you're chasing pigs and you got the guns and you're yabbying day and you're picking out a feed for bigger ones for yourself and smaller ones for bait, and then you'd be ringing around next door neighbours or other properties saying, anyone got an old currajong tree they just knocked down? And you'd go, there was another day then cutting grubs, and that means you're on the stubble paddocks, and and it was leading up to the week was nearly better than some of the fishing we used to do. It was just that, it was the adventure, as I always say. It was part of the adventure. Like people say, oh, you can't go now because there's the wind, or you can't go because it's going to be the rain, but fuck it, get ready and go.
Yeah, send it.
That's the fun.
Victory
That's the
loves
story
preparation.
when you get home.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nothing wrong with going into a bit of bad weather or a bit of strife and coming out with a good story.
That's the best story. Like if you told a story about everything fucking running smooth, people will walk away from you. They'd kick the ash in the fire and they'll fuck this. Let's go to bed. But you told them a story that you're hanging upside down in a tree and the fucking mud was all over everything. You couldn't recognise your own ute, and then they think, "Oh shit, what the fuck's going on here?"
Yeah, give us more.
Yeah. Have you got a day you can think of that like really went wrong when you were younger? That sort of.
When I was younger, we had numerous times where we'd just spare in the moment thing, and Dad would say, "Let's just jump the truck and go out to Macquarie or somewhere." And we'd forget matches or forget food. One time we forgot food. Then I think matches one time we forgot matches, and Dad, we wet a rag down around a bit of wire and we were arcing the battery out on the truck. They'll set fire to the rag.
Wow.
Well, that could have gone wrong, but
From a bloke from Ningin, this is where the biggest bogan come from.
part of the story. But then as I got older, we didn't care. We get on the piss and just go fishing, and we had all sorts of things go wrong. But I suppose another one when I was young is that big scar there on my finger.
Yeah.
We were out in between in between Louth and Tilpa, and everyone, when we were kids, we used to have drop lines, set lines, run along the banks, and I used to sit up the front of the boat. I was probably only 11 or 12. And we were along checking our lines in the light, and there was about 4 of us in the boat. I was the youngest, but I used to love going up the front, pulling the line in, getting the line and baiting it up. And I had hold of the big, probably 8 or 9 hook, and we'd sort of drift back out in the boat, and then you just drop her on the spot where you want it to, and the hook got caught in my finger. You can still see where the hook went in, that big tear mark. And then it got caught, and I let out a bit of a whimper, and then so Jacko went to start the motor. Of course, it wouldn't go, so then the current pulling us down, and I'm reaching out the front of the boat as it hooked in my finger, and then Dad said, "Oh, I'll get hold of his legs," and then Bobby Clifford come around with an old oars timber, and he said, he tried to catch the line and wind it up to take the weight off the line because we were drifting down. And then I was going out with it. I was ready to jump in, and Dad's got hold of my legs and wouldn't let go of me, so I'm strung out over the front of the boat. And that's the tear mark. That's the tear mark where it was starting to tear back top of my finger.
Jesus.
Big U-shape there. And they had it, and then we finally, Bob twisted this old timber oar up in the line, which was also pulling at the same time the current was pulling. And he's telling me, Bob, I can remember Bob saying, "Just cry, mate, if you got it. Fucking cry, mate, if you got it." And I was fucking bellowing and yelling and carrying on, and Dad had hold of my legs. I was stretched out over the front, and then we took the weight off and got the hook out. And they said, "Do you want to go back now?" And I said, "Fuck no, we'll be right." And they wrapped a bit of rag around and we kept fishing, but the pain didn't set in for a couple of days. But that's the big scar there where it was just starting to peel the flesh back off the top. Of my finger.
Fuck.
You can see where the hook went in there.
Yeah.
And then just started peeling all that back. Still got it. There was numerous times. Another time, me and Big Cliffo were out the 19 mile out of Burke, and we caught a penguin.
Fucking penguin. How many beers you had?
Wish it had been a fucking penguin. Actually, it was a big pelican. He wants to come swimming along the bank and got his wing hooked under our line and then swam along and hooked it in.
Yeah.
And he was up, he took the whole reel and everything, and me and Cliffo come down and thought, fuck, the line's crooked. We've got one here. We're onto a good fish. The line's run up the bank. Pulled on it, and this fucking pelican come out from behind this log, and he's just cranky. He was straight back to dinosaur era, this fucking pelican. He was velociraptor, and fucking angry. You wouldn't think a big bird it just looked fucking evil. And I said, fuck you, Cliffo, you got to get the hook out of that. That's your line. That's your line. You get the hook out of him. And we run up the bank and pulled him in. And Yeah, he just had that look like it was death. Like he was dead set and he was snapping, and I thought, fuck that big beak. And anyway, I just virtually kissed Cliffo goodbye. I said, you're going to have to handle this. And then he said, no, handle it. I think we ended up throwing a coat or something over him, and then we dove on him. And they're strong buggers, like a big penguin. A big fucking penguin, a big pelican.
The penguin.
And then, we unhooked him and let him go. But, you wouldn't believe just how savage a fucking bird can get, especially when they've got a beak on them like that and they're looking at you. They don't like you at all.
Nah, they're pretty savage, eh? I remember fishing up at a Luca one year around Christmas time. I was casting a little blade off like a break wall. Cast this out, and at the same time, this pelican decided to swoop down mid-air.
Penguin or pelican? It'd be better if a penguin was swooping down, because that would be a story for everyone to listen to.
That'll make the news.
This pelican came down and he near on collected this blade right at the same time it was going past. Oh, I felt so bad for him. I tried to reel him in, get him undone.
It's like the blooper. On
that poor bloke on live TV on his weather.
And he caught the duck.
He smacked the duck down in Melbourne somewhere, didn't he? And had to call, he's cutting the throat. Call it quits while wearing an old duck in across the pond.
I remember on the topic of birds while we're going, one day we pulled up on the bank and my old man was actually in the boat with us. And anyway, back in the old Nokia E63 days, still got a photo this day. I need to piss, and because I was a wee little whippersnipper, so was me old fella. So I had to jump off the boat to have a leak. And when I've jumped off, I walked around the back of this log and I scared the absolute shit out of this eagle. Like he was on the ground eating something, and as he's looked at me and he's going to take off, he hit the bottom of this log and just stunned himself. And I'm like, "Oi, there's an eagle over here!" And the boy's like, "Yeah, fuck off!" Like, I'm like, "Nah, I'm serious." Well, then I got the big enough balls to go over and grab him. And I walked around this fucking log with this eagle with his wingspans open, and they were all like, holy shit. And I'm like, give me a photo with me 3 megapixel camera. So I've still got the photo this day of just holding this eagle, like, absolutely happy as shit. And I thought it was the best thing in the world. He come good. And, like, I threw him up in the air and he took off and nearly knocked me over with the wind off his wings. But, like, got back in the boat. I'm all excited about this eagle I'd caught. No one watched me bait rod, did they? Gone.
See ya.
Yeah, see you later. But I got to see an eagle and touch it that day. That was on the Macquarie here.
Really?
Yeah, at pretty much Warren, Pig's Tit. So.
Yeah, right.
Pig's Tit.
Pig's Tit, mate, where the big dip is.
They got some hell of a names out there, haven't they?
Oh, proper.
Turkey farm, Pig's Tit. Oh, jeez. So you pretty much grew up right next to the river, didn't you? From what some of the stories you've told, like you were watching fishing lines out your bedroom window in the morning.
No, during some floods, I had springers set up right at the front door in the timber patio. So, now we very early days of primary school, Dad bought a little 20-acre block just on the side in Ingham out past the golf club. So over a weekend, we're out there, like he was out there putting in lucerne and sorghum and irrigating, and I just spent all weekend on the river, like chasing shrimp and yabbies and guppies, and I had an old slug gun and a little bow, and we used to shoot carp and chase carp all day, and then we ended up designing different death weapons to kill carp along, chasing them with bars and all sorts of shit, and then when we just started high school, it was about year 7, I think it was. We bought the house next door, so we actually moved on, and that house is only, be lucky to be 15 metres off the water's edge, and we lived there. So I was fishing before school, after school, and everything was yellowbelly. There wasn't bugger or cod in the bogan at that stage. It was all yellowbelly, and cod are gone a big thing out there recently, but yeah, I just remember growing up. Like, I can remember where I caught my very first yellowbelly on my own line, like by myself. I could take you and stand you on the exact spot. Where if you asked me where was the first cod you caught or whatever, I would not have a clue.
Yeah.
But I can remember that first, exactly where I was standing when I caught my very first first yellowbelly on the bogan, yeah.
Yeah.
And I still go out the bogan. We still own the block and the house, and I go out there camping and fishing on the bogan and still love it. Like,
Yeah.
I know all the river like the back of my hand. It's me and Cliffo. Cliffo grew up the other side of the river. His father used to buy all the rabbits, skinned rabbits and stuff. So he had a tinny and I had a tinny on my side, and we used to meet up. And then in our later years when we were 18, 19, we used to meet up, pick each other up in the tinnies and then go up, take them up to the bridge and hide them in the willow trees and walk into the pub and get blind, and then 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning come out and jump back in the tinny and head home again. We just
that's very effort.
stick them up the willows. Yeah, we had a ball. And you'd be trying to con people, come back, we'll go up the river. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And all of a sudden you're going through the willow trees and there's this tinny, and you'd push your tinny out and start the motor, and they think, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. And how much has that waterway changed since you were a kid to what it is now?
Terrible. Well, it's a big ski hub now.
Yeah.
I mean, the caravan park looks after, like, and I'm not complaining, it brings a hell of a lot of money and stuff to the town. But all the banks are starting to wash away. Like, there is a dedicated ski zone, and you go up to Bob Cliffo's point, and there's a white buoy there that says, where the ski boats are meant to turn around. But then everyone that comes and they've got a young kid doesn't want them skiing in the narrow river, like learning, so they bring them up past there to train them, and then people like to come up and have a sticky beak, and all the banks are washed away. So out the front of our old host's house, everyone calls it Martin's Hole. Like, that used to be the biggest hole. It's Martin's Hole, straight out the front of the house. And that's predominantly, when I was a kid, that's where everyone used to fish, like all the trawlers and spinner boats and whatever used to catch yellowbelly. Well, I went out with my sounder not long ago, and it's the whole river's flat. Like, there's no holes or dips or anything in it at the moment. All the banks are washed away. So where before you could walk down and just a nice casual walk into the water, now there's about 1.5 foot drop and roots and of trees hanging out.
Right.
And it's like just that constant wake of boats is just washed away.
Yeah.
I mean, the town survives off the skis and that during the holidays in the caravan park, and it does a good job, but there should be just a bit more emphasis on that's their ski point from there to there, and that's...
Yeah, leave the rest.
Yeah, leave the rest.
Right.
But they come up and, I mean, it's not their problem, but it's just wrecked the river. Like, they don't know that all that silt from washed off the banks is then filled on all the holes that used to be there, and all the old snags that used to sort of sit out on the bottom of all flooded in with silt now. So when you go out with the sounder now, like the good sounders we've got now, it's virtually just a flat bottom all the way through.
Yeah, right. Gotcha. Yeah. And in terms of the fish out there, like, have more carp than usual than there ever was, or yellowbelly?
Ridiculous. Like, I took me and Riles, you spoke to Riles here before, and the wife went out there. Oh, not last week, the long weekend. What's the first one that comes around?
June? No, fuck, mate.
The first one of the year, eh?
That's as bad as a penguin call.
Australia
it must
Day.
be the last one. No, it must have been the last one of the year. Must be October then, is it?
Australia long weekend.
Yeah, we went out there for the long weekend anyway, and I just took one tub of worms and my little handrail line and a bell, and just doing it like I used to do as a kid, and sat there and I caught 62 carp off one tub of worms, and I could cut them. I was actually pulling them apart into little bits and just sticking enough that covered the hook and the barb, and we're still catching them. And I caught 62 carp in an hour just there with me.
Wow.
With my little line. And I sat there in my little chair, and Mum and Ryle sit there watching. You think, Christ, he's mad. And I sat there in my chair and I just kept pulling. I was pulling them in and just kept throwing them over my shoulder.
Yeah.
And by the time I'd finished one afternoon, it was only for a couple of hours, I had 62, and I could have shot with a slug gun another 200 swimming in front of me. Like, you could just see them. And when you turn the sounder on, it is just littered, sparkling with carp. Like, there's no spare water whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's nuts.
And, like, going off that, all the carp in the bogan at the moment, so the fisheries have been coming out here and doing a bit of research on the Macquarie, a bit about yellowbelly breeding and whatnot, but I asked them about the bogan and what's going on with the carp. Like, they're just thick as mud. They're literally, I was like, mate, are you going to electrode them? Are you going to do that? And literally, they spun around and told me, and they're like, mate, even if we electroded for a day, wouldn't put a din in them. He said they done it for, I think he said 13 days straight out there. And he said we could go to the same hole and get the same amount of carp, and it was just pointless.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it is when you see them. Like we went out there after the big floods. When was that? About last January, February, something. You know,
Late
when all the
summer.
yabbies and that were running.
Yeah.
And there was the carp were starting to eat each other, but you didn't have to turn on the sound. You could just look across the top of the water, and it was lathered with carp. There's carp everywhere, and I've got little videos up of them.
Yeah, you and Ross.
Yeah, there's carp everywhere, and all them carp are still there, of course. There is good cod and yellow belly still. I don't know how they're getting on, but they do get on. You still catch them, and they're as fat as mud because they don't have to.
Don't have to move far
open
for
their
a
mouth and carp will swim in, just to get a break from somewhere else. But I did hear a story about the highest. What do they call it? Density per ton or whatever of carp around in the central west is in the Bogan at the moment.
And the fisheries said that to me, mate. They were just like, there needs to be something bigger and better in plan because we could spend a year out there and. And
there's another thing that is probably pro ski, but I think they aerate the water. Otherwise, that water would turn into soup. It'd turn into soup during the heat. Yeah. It's only 1,500, 1,800 deep, so that whole recreation zone.
Yeah, exactly.
And if there wasn't boats there churning it up, spinning it up, that would just turn to soup.
Always a pro and con between shit like that. Always a pro and con.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a few videos of you in like down in the shallows, and there'd just be thousands upon thousands of those little baby carp, and yeah, it's like, how do you even start to deal with that?
And like me and Dane, we've done a bit of research on this carp shit in the last probably 8 weeks, and spoke about it in the last few potties, and it's just some of the research coming out of it is ridiculous. And like Dane dipped right into it last episode, of how much even just carp volume dirties the water. Yeah. And I can't remember the percentage off the top of my head, but
it's
it
like
was
60-something percent. It increased the turbidity of the water, which
turbidity.
Is
we had to research
the water.
We both didn't know what that fucking word meant.
I know that's not a fucking word you would have come up with. So that's definite turbidity. That's definite research.
So next time I go to a water volume of any type of sort, and it's dirty, I'm gonna be like, the turbidity is very high.
Oh, jeez.
Well, and speaking of that, like you spoke about, all your stuff you done as a kid, and you like that memorabilia of what you used to grow up with. What's the number one trip or experience you've had fishing that just stands out and it's your number one thing?
Number one.
We're scoring high.
Well, mate, I know, yeah. No, there's definitely, oh, Jesus, there's numerous trips. But
tell them all.
There's one that will always picture in my mind was the very first time I seen the Great Barrier Reef. We were living in Hamilton Island. We used to, all the gang and the tradies used to chase Spanish mackerel. And I used to love chasing Spanish mackerel. That's just my favourite thing up there, and it probably still is. I go out skip and gar, but anyway, we're up the sports bar at the Sportos, at the staff bar they call it on Hamilton Island, and the boys knew I was mad on fishing, and they said, "You want to come for a trip out the reef? Like we'll go out to Hook Reef, which you go in past Whitehaven and start heading out this Hook Reef." And I remember you go like for about an hour and a half. And then just seeing that blue turquoise sort of colour of the reef, and then there was just acres of mac tuna busting up, and there was millions of them. And I threw up the front of the boat throwing slugs and caught mac tuna for bait, and there was Spanish underneath them, and it was straight out of a David Attenborough Albert Mangles video.
How was the turbidity up there?
And then, I don't know what you call this, but then that night we sat in behind the reef, behind Hook Reef, and the fluorescent gel stuff started coming through over the drifts.
The beaches and shit.
Yeah, but this was out on the reef, so all this green like blobs of glowing gel started coming.
Yeah, right.
And it was spooky
Nah.
as shit.
You run your hands through it's like neon.
But this is green, so and we're looking over the whole reef, and it just started coming into the tide. And if I hadn't had Fester there telling me to calm down, this is natural.
You thought the elders ending.
This is the end. But it was, and then once you think, oh shit, it's natural. It's a hell of a sight to see when you're out on the reef.
Yeah. So sorry, continue.
Oh, there's other trips like
Yeah, give us another one.
Yeah.
right. Well, we used to do quite a few trips up to the Barwon and that. When we turned 18, best mate Cliffo and that used to do a few trips up there, and it was all about chasing cod and getting on the piss, and me out in the middle of nowhere. And
So not much has changed.
surprise! Very similar to what we do now. So we'd planned 4 days, and my cousin Paulie Adams from Tottenham, he said, "I'm coming with you." So we lined it up, and we spent, the numerous few days getting bait, and cousin Paul's from over at Tottenham, and he got some grubs, and me and Cliffo went yabbing, and we got all sorts of them. We were planning on going up there for 4 days. So we went up to the Barwon up at Brewarrina. Beautiful spot we had on this big sandy corner sort of thing. And we got on, and we took heaps of eskies, and Cliffo had the means to make big like trays full of ice, like 10 inches by 20 inches thick, like big tubs.
Yeah.
So we took a chest freezer up with us and just put these tubs in that. So whenever we needed backup ice for the 4 days, we could just grab one of these big chunks, hit it with a hammer and fill up our
Way to
eskies.
go.
And we ended up filling it up full of piss too. So we had, it'd be horrifying to say on a national show just how much grog we took. But we took quite a bit. And anyway, we're up there for 3 days and we're having a ball, and we had the tinny in and we had lines, and we met some blokes from Warren that were camped up the next property, and we're getting on the piss. And then I think it was about 3 days in, Cliffo's old man, Bob, and Hoppy, his uncle, they come out in the old rabbit truck, and they said, "We're coming out to spend the night with you, but it's going to rain. It's going to rain in about a day and a half," because no one had mobile phones or anything, no phones communications. It's going to rain a few days. We'll just come out and spend the night with you. So they rocked up, and we were like sitting season, like we were fully on pickled by this stage, and they had been drinking all the way out. So we went to do our set line run. Everyone had set lines back in the day, so we'd go in the afternoon run, and we used to take a bottle of maybe Stones or port or whatever it is. And the rule was it had to be drank by the time you got back. You weren't allowed to pull up back at camp unless that. And you'd take your normal beers and everything.
Hey.
And Hoppy said, "I'll come for a fucking lap with you young fellas, and sort you out." So Hoppy, and God rest his soul, he's passed away now, but he was just a champion bloke and just a good fisherman and just a good bloke to have around camp. And he said, "I'll come for a lap with you." So we packed our usual eskies, and then we had this old big bottle of port. We had it, I think it was nearly a flagon of port. And I looked at Cliffo and I said, "We're going to throw the lid on this." And he said, we'll be right. So when we all got in the boat, I just spun the lid off, threw the lid, and I said, "Hoppy, we're not allowed to come back here until this is gone. This is part of our weekly bet." So me and Paul, we all went around and we're having beers and sipping on this port, and all thought it was grouse, and she'd been a bit of a solid day. And when we got back to camp, we had a bit of port left, and by this stage we were singing songs we'd never even heard of before. And
Making them up.
Yeah, we were doing all sorts of things. So, and we said, right, we're not allowed to pull back into camp, but we can pull back in the other side of the river. So we swung back in on the other side of the river, and Albie said, "I've got to have a piss." And as he got up, the boat rocked, and he's a big man, and he fell over and sort of twisted, and his back landed right where the water and the bank meet. And it was like a belly plate on a dozer being sucked to the mud. It was just and he was blowing me back like a big turtle. And me and Paul, my cousin Paul, we tried to lift him, tried to pull him out. Cliffo said, "We're going to have to get him up." And when it was a bit cool. And we said, we're going to have to get him up, and we couldn't move. And he's sitting there, and we were laughing our heads off, and I was laughing. And anyway, he finally was trying to squirm him around enough that he rolled. And when he rolled back in the water, and the suction came up, for he was stuck in the mud. And we got him back in the boat, and then got him up the other side. And they were camped on the back of this old rabbit truck, this old flatbed truck, and we all thought, I don't know what time it was. We thought we'll all go to bed, but we didn't. Most of the nights we didn't even make it to bed. We didn't roll out our swags, but that way we just leaned up against them around the fire. And Hoppy went went to get up this back of the truck, and the sound he made when he fell off it was still fucking wakes me up during the night. He got up the steps of this side of this truck and went to reach his foot around to get on the flatbed, and then just lost all thing. And he'd come down and land on the ground on his back, and the wind coming out of this big man was, it was a scary sound. And I fucking rolled over thinking, oh, Jesus, we've done him wrong here. And anyway, Bob yelled out, are you all right? And there was a bit more of a groan, and we thought, well, shit, he's right. And then he got back up, and the next morning they packed up early because Oppie was busted, and he still swears this for drinking this flagon of port, but he was drinking more than us. But anyway, we stayed with him. So we stayed out there for another. We thought we got enough piss to last another 2 nights if we upper. And this is at a time when you're young, when you used to you'd wake up at some ungodly hour and they'd be tapping on the swag, and you'd hear cousin Paul twist it stubby off saying, "Here, you want a beer?" Like he'd already had the lid off it and trying to give it to you, and you've been drinking all day. Yeah. So you're just being silly. And then the rain hit, and we thought, right, we'll wait the rain out. It'll only rain for a day. And we got into the second day of rain, and by this stage we was trying to sleep under the ute because there was the only bit of dry ground left, and we're in underneath the exhaust of the ute. And if you woke up too quick, you could knock yourself out on the chassis. Like we were wedged there. It was the only bit of dry dirt. So that was going into about day 6, I'd reckon. And then we come to agreement, said we've got to get out of here. It's not going to stop raining. And they're like, it's biblical. It's straight out of the Bible. She wouldn't flood. So we thought we'll have to get going. So we packed everything up, put the boat on, we got everything going, and then we had this old Hilux at Paulie's, and we sat, and we were way in the middle of scrub, in the middle of nowhere. There's no houses, no property. So we started moving, and then we kept losing traction. So me and Clivo said, right, we'll get out and we'll push. When she starts losing traction, we'll push. And then when she gets traction, it was that wet we could mud ski behind it barefoot, like just hanging on the tailgate. And we had the esky just over the back with the lid off her, and whenever we just get a little twist top out and just give ourselves a bit of a charge. And when we got out onto the Bree Corinda Road, and we're heading back past Yarrawan House, we thought we're on the road now, we'll make it back to civilisation. And we hit this big bend and slid off the road into the table drain, and that was it. Like we couldn't push anywhere. She was straight up to the mud flaps, and we could see the lights of Yarrawan House. So me and Clever had no boots on and covered in mud. Thought, right, we'll head for Yarrawan House. And Paul said, I'll stay here for the ute and just make sure there's someone home.
He just didn't want to walk.
No, he was a bastard that drove all day too. I mean, Clever was pushing. Anyway, we worked out, it was 15 kilometres we got this ute through this mud. 15 kilometres to the point where we left the river to where we actually officially got bogged. And Benny McKinnon said, Ruck if I know how he's got here. Like, I wouldn't even attempted to do what you did, but I said, well, fuck, it's part of the adventure. This is all part of the adventure. So anyway, we were walking across the paddock, heading towards Yarrawan House, and there's an old timber weir, and we had no boots on, and we're trying to get past this old timber weir out of this cowl, and it would have took us probably 2 hours to walk across this paddock, and we knocked on Yarrawan House. And now me and Cliffo by this stage would have looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger off the Predator movie. Like, it was only our eyes that were blinking. The rest of us was mud, stuck on the wall. And Ben came out the door and said, fucking hell did you fellas get here? And we said, well, we're just across there bogged. And he said, but just we're down at the river. And I said, yeah, we've spent all day getting 15 kilometres and we're bogged just across there. And he said, so anyway, he ended up hitting us with a hose on the lawn. We said, oh, fucking hang on a minute. Oh, cousin Paul's still in the ute. So they jumped in the four-wheelers and went around and got Paul out of the ute. And then we ended up spending another day there because it was just too wet to get out. And we built a new cool room shack, a new shed over their cool room. We had showers. They fed us. We had beers. It was legendary. And then 2 days. So our 4-day trip turned into 8.5 days, I think, before we got home. And then we didn't have mobile phones. There wasn't a care in the world. Like by the time
where the bloody hell are you been?
It was just we told we were stuck in the rain. It was right, but if you had mobile phones, then you would have been panic, and they would have been sending helicopters, and there would have been ambulance, and we were just living the moment. It was unreal. It was a great trip that was just full of crap and adventure and fun and bogged.
That's what you want.
Wet.
It's like Ford's Bridge, mate. I done Ford's like a lot of my family on my mum's side's from Burke and out that way, and I was so pissed on it took me 27 years to realise I should have went back out there because I did that trip just over 12 months ago now, 18 months ago. Mate, absolutely one of the coolest things I've ever done. Like, you get out them back roads, there's no fucking rules. Like, we're driving around with quad bikes with guns on the fuckers, blowing roos and, pigs.
Yeah, pigs.
You shoot.
Foxes. Pigs and
it's
foxes.
Unreal. And there's, pigs and foxes. No roos, I swear. And, we're like pub in the middle of nowhere. So that was our livelihood, this pub. Mind you, old mate had showers and shitters out the back. So, like, if you really needed, you'd get up on a quaddie or a motorbike and you'd fly up the road 4K and go have a shower or a shit. Well, I decided one arvo after walking around with drop nets and catching yabbies all day. Same thing, reminded me covered head to toe with mud. I was fucking filthy. I'd fallen over 20,000 times, spilt 15 beers, and I was like, it's time for me to have a shower. Jumped on a quaddie, flew up to the showers, and I said to the public, and I said, mate, I'm just going to have a shower. And old mate's in a wheelchair out there. He said, yeah, mate, keys out there. It didn't click to me. I was like, fucking keys out there. Anyway, I don't think anyone's out here, right? The odd truckie stops there and has a shower and whatnot. Well, I've gone barreling in to this fucking toilet and shower, barreling just through the door open, fucking started streaming. I've swung the next door, and here's fucking old love, stark naked under the shower head. And I was like, I am so sorry. And she's like, don't worry me, love, you got a sponge? And I was like, I'm too far out back for this shit. I'm fucking hightailing it back out to the quaddie. And it was gold because she was just an old school truck driver, like just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I really loved it because she came out, she said, fuck, you're too young for me. I said, yeah, but experience matters, blah, 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 and just fucking had a real good laugh. And then she's like, what are you doing? I said, we're yabbying down the road about 4K. And, she's like, yeah, I'll drive right up the tip and go all the way back to Melbourne. That's me fortnight run. Like, yeah, this is good. Anyway, we've had this 5-minute conversation. I walked in there. And as I walked in the door and shut the
latch on the back of the door.
She said, don't mind the hairs on the soap. I was like, you dirty bitch.
You can have so much fun out west, can't you?
Oh, mate, and I want all us boys to go do it. Like, it's such a
we
good
used
trip.
to go to, like, shearing quarters, old shearing quarters, where the sheds are no longer sheds, but the shearing quarters are kept up. And the places out, like, in between Tilpa and Louth and out the back of Bree on the back Burke Road, and there's shearing quarters right on the water that are just kept like good enough. There's still the old kitchen and rooms, but they're right on the water, and they're magical places. Like you can walk through the old wool sheds are given up the ghost. They're busted and down, but there's that many just good little spots out there, and it's in the middle of nowhere. Like when I took my wife, when was that? Years ago. We were going out towards Tilpa anyway, and I'd taken them down to the snow for a week, and I said the second week of the school holidays is my week. You've done the snow, you've done the all the happy stuff, and Larry and Canberra and all that. I said second week, and she said, well, where are we going? I said we're going to Tilpa, out at your mate's place, and he had 40 kilometres of river frontage out there, and we went and met him, and it was shearing time, and he said I'll get the young fella to take you down. And he said, then there's that paddock is yours. Like there's 40 odd K. So you just pick a spot, stay as long as you like, and there's no phone reception, there's nothing. No. And Mum said, I said, well, this is my week and we've had your week. And by the end of that week, with no phone reception, there's no shit. Like there was a bore up the road and under a windmill. We'd all have a wash and there was nothing. And she got back at the other way and said that was the best week out of the fortnight, I reckon. That was like she sat down and read a book around the fire and had nothing. And the kids just entertained themselves with it. Like we went for a bit of a shot during the day, but they just entertained themselves. They had a kayak and a couple of tomahawks and a knife and were making spears and their own bow and arrows, and
Yeah.
they were just. And I was sitting down just fishing off the bank during the day, and we were going for a drive around this. It was 90,000 acres, but this down in the river paddock was, it might have been 4,000 or 5,000 acres. We'd just go for a drive down the river and just finding new spots and just cruising around, and then Mum and Dad come out in the caravan for 2 nights, and I think it was one of the State of Origins on. We just had the State of Origin playing on the radio.
Yeah.
And just around the fire, and I cooked my camp ovens every day, and it was just.
Bloody
And
hell.
Mum said that I was worried sick. We were going out there, and there was no reception. We had the kids, but she said that was the best
Good
week
fun.
we've had.
Yeah.
It was better than going down to Canberra.
Yeah,
And I love it.
We're not rural. Like Dubbo is not rural. We guess we
don't consider
get
it.
filthy and fucking swim and carry on. But
Some
when you
city
get out
folk
there-
consider us very rural.
Oh yeah, but when you get out west, like west, like as Marto's
Yeah.
saying, out that way, it's a
different
different
ballgame.
world. And
And I love it.
like that 5 days I was out at Falls Bridge, there's no phone service. You don't get that shit. And it's funny how quick you can forget about your phone. Like my phone sat in that I didn't touch it for 4 days, and I was like,
And you didn't miss the
shit.
thing.
No, I was
Didn't
like,
miss
oh,
the thing. When you got back, you thought, I didn't miss the thing off that phone.
No.
The world's still revolved. I'm still breathing. The
Yeah,
world's
exactly
still living.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Except
didn't need it.
I had my boss message me on the last day. Where are you at? I said, I took Monday off, mate. Don't forget. But this was like on my way back in, so I was already a day late anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, I'd absolutely love to go do that. I'm kind of keen to do that on my birthday this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Go out to Fords Bridge for 3
Yeah.
days or something.
Bloody hell.
It's a good trip. It's not far.
Nah, it's not too far.
But the only problem is at the moment it's bone dry.
Oh, really?
Absolutely bone dry. So a couple of the boys like Dave from D&D and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, they had their yearly trip November. And yeah, bone dry.
Bone
Couldn't
eyes.
catch a yabby.
Oh, bloody hell.
There's other options, though. It's
Oh,
a big
yeah.
catch.
But even that, mate, I'd have a fat time going down the old creek bed, and
Yeah.
there's a glass tip out there. Have you heard that?
Glass tip.
A whole tip just for glass.
You did, yeah, I remember you mentioning something about this.
And some of the bottles we found in there was,
Ancient.
oh, mate, and my old girl's a big collector of Johnny Walker, and I found some of these bottles she'd never even seen before. She's like, holy
really?
shit. And I collected a heap. And the publican was saying, mate, if you get to a tree and you see a bag half buried, don't touch it. And I was like, oh, here we go, drugs or something. He's like, no, the fellas will come out here, buy their grog and bury it so no one can find it, and then they come back out and collect it when they want it. And they hide it all around this tip. Well, lo and behold, I probably shouldn't say, I will say his nickname, Nudge. He found one. Absolutely raided it. So he raided all this piss and brought it back to camp. Old mate's rocked up. You boys are going to camp within here from 30 Ks. Where is it? It was bad. But threw Nudge under the bus like, that was you, bud. And Nudge was pretty good. And by the time they finished their chat, he ended up having a few beers with us at camp and whatnot.
Yeah.
But he's like, the only reason they do that is because they can only buy, like out there, especially at Falls Bridge, they can only buy a certain amount per day.
Yeah,
They're
right.
on you can't just walk in and buy 10 bottles.
Yeah,
If they've
yeah.
got
It's what they call it, a semi-dry community or whatever it is.
yeah. And you can't buy after a certain time and whatnot. So they just bury it to when they want it. It's
right.
fucking unreal. Like the culture
Stockpile.
out there as well is awesome. Like,
Oh, yeah. It's good fun. I remember a couple of years ago, boys from work went out to Tilpa. And
Yep.
one of the boys' old mans, he's got a little 110-acre property near Tilpa, between Tilpa and Louth, which has his grandfather, his great-grandfather and great-grandmother or something's grave on it. Mm-hmm. They used to own tens of thousands of acres around it. But they bought this little sliver, separated a little sliver off and sold the property off to some farmer. We used to go out there yabbying, shooting, fishing. But the thing we used to do is we thought we'd catch a shit ton of yellow belly and cod. No, nothing but carp. So we're all just sitting around camp and, fuck, we've got 100 carp sitting on the bank. What do we do now? So out comes the bird shot, the shotguns, and we start doing some clay shooting, chucking the carp up.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a fish out there that I caught a while back that I've never seen in any other freshwater system. Forky tail? Well, they call them a little forky tail?
Bony brim.
Bony brim.
Yeah, bony
Bony
brim.
brim.
Yeah.
Fork tail, little like...
They're a little thin and got razor edge top and bottom.
Yeah.
Bony brim, they're called.
Yeah.
That's us
They're
cod
like a
fishermen,
main-
mate. They're cod lollies.
They're a main bait source, yeah. You get them quite big. Like you can get them like 13, 40 centimetres.
Really?
So I've been
Yeah,
told
righto.
back in the day, mate. But this is what I've been told back in the day. Unreal dropper bait.
Yeah, right.
No, it's a lie. They die.
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
that I've tried them.
No.
Not that I've tried them, but they do die straight away.
Oh, proper. I
Like
mean,
they die.
yeah,
As soon
that's
as
what
you
they
catch
told
them,
me.
a bony brim dies.
Really?
Like, it doesn't last. But I've only been told this that they die straight.
Oh,
I've never tried
yeah,
to keep
same
one, put him
here.
on a hook.
Nah.
But yeah, they do. They just give up the ghost
Yeah, they do. I mean,
straight away.
Yeah, right.
yeah, they're no good. Like, couple of hours.
Yeah.
Go on.
But we'd go shooting through the day, go pigging through the day, whatever, chase some stuff up, and then put the yabby pots in all day, cook up some yabby for a feed in the arvo, and fish all night. Oh, fuck, it was good.
Well, yeah, I found some of the best meat I've ever sourced for yabbies too while I was at Fords Bridge.
Well, hang on. You're talking to a professional now, so you better arc up your game.
If you're a greenie, stop listening, turn your headphones off, turn your stereo off. But I'm telling you now, look, we were practically using roos. And when we shot a roo, you
Oh, if you see one on the dead,
Now,
side,
hang
on
on.
the dead on
If
the
you
side
look
of the
at the
road,
other side of the national emblem, there's another animal.
yeah, I've heard the yellow stuff. Don't you worry. I've heard the,
If you look at the other side of the national anthem emblem to what you said, there's another animal, and he's
yeah, you get that yellow fat.
And if you accidentally find one tied to a yabby pot, you throw it in, and you do quite well.
Yeah, the old dead roo on the side, if you give him a buckshot and somehow let him bleed through a bit more, unreal. Like it'd get all congealed in the muscles. Magic. Probably not as good as the yellow mucus, but yeah, it was right up there.
It's highly illegal. But I think if they naturally end up in the bottom of a drop pot, well, who's to say I put it there? No,
Yeah, I could have
had to
fell
get
in there, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know. Look,
hit by a truck, mate.
Yeah.
Good bait.
I'm just cleaning the roads up.
Yeah,
Roadkill,
that's right.
new yabby bait. Thanks for coming.
Oh,
I love yabbies.
yeah.
I made
Unreal.
myself sick on them last year.
Yeah.
Oh, proper sick.
How do you do yabbies, Marto, when you cook them up?
I tails and heads them out in the paddock.
Tails and heads them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So claws.
Yeah.
Claws and tails.
tails. Yeah.
So you tail and then you pull the big middle fin in the middle of their tail. You twist it, pull out. That pulls out the poop chute.
Yep.
You keep all the big claws, put them straight onto ice, and then I bring them in and put them in me, just all the tails and the good claws, and just put them in a boiler. And I've got up to now where I make a bit of a boil like they do in America, I suppose. I'm following a bit of
Yeah.
American trait where I
Orange
put a
juice.
few different pieces in the water
Yeah.
just to give them a kick. Now, I'll eat them cooked in gum leaves. Like we used to cook as kids, we used to get them in gum leaves. Put a heap of dry box leaves and drum leaves
Yeah.
down and then just light it and let the fire sweep across them and then eat them straight in their shell. And they're beautiful.
Yeah, right.
Cooked in their natural
Yeah.
juice just with a fire going over the leaves with them.
Yep.
But now I like to play with them a bit and just and get them. And I'll eat them fucking hot just so no one else can too. I will burn my fingers to get more yabbies in me.
And if anyone's thinking of
If
even
someone
trying
says
this,
they're a good peeler, I'll fucking introduce them to a real world because I blister. I'll nearly dip my hand straight into the boil of water just so I get the first few. But once
and this ain't
they're
recommended
nice,
for anyone listening
I love them. But my wife, she only likes like the saltwater prawns because they've got that salty.
Yeah.
And there's certain, but
Sweet.
she grew up on the coast. Like her father was a ship captain. Like they've lived on the coast all their lives, but she doesn't like the muddy taste. And people say there's muddy taste in yellow belly, there's muddy taste in yabbies. But to me,
Oh,
that's
shit.
beautiful.
yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
I'll eat a yabby till it goes like there's non-existent. But you put a prawn in front of me, I might as well throw it back. I can't eat prawns.
Really?
Yeah, no, prawns are fish bait.
Oh, yeah.
Yabbies are food.
When I lived in Queensland for them 10 years, I had crab pots in and me casting it, and I was prawn and crabbing more than what I was nearly fishing. Like eating mud crabs every weekend and loved it.
Yeah.
The one thing I've learned over the years about, they talk about people saying yellow belly have a muddy taste, cod have a muddy taste, any freshwater species has a muddy taste.
Yeah. Just give a sprinkle of salt on the flesh.
Yeah.
And,
Well, the thing that I've learned over the years, and from someone, I can't remember who taught me, but apparently most freshwater species, in their spine, there's this sort of, it's not a toxin, but it's just like something they release when they die.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the flesh and it makes it taste muddy. And so
It's just like a stress hormone.
Yeah, stress hormone pretty much.
Yeah.
And when something dies, if it tastes like crap, something else is not going to eat it, is it? So that's why they do it. But if you gut them straight away, put them straight into a nice slurry as soon as you know you want to eat them,
Yeah.
yeah.
they come out
right.
unreal.
Like I've never really, like now that we fish like we fish now, and we're all lures and we're all tournament fishermen and
Catch and release.
boys, and we're all catch and release everything.
Yeah.
But if I go out to the Western River, I like to say to the Bogan or to Gunnerbah Creek or whatever, and I just catch a nice river yellowbelly that's slim in that, I love him. I'll take one home to eat. No, not a drama in the world. Like out of the dams, they're all fatty and gucky looking beasts of things. A beautiful little river fish, just cooked. I'd like to put them in a bit of foil, just with a bit of butter and a bit of onion or whatever in their stomach cavity, and just wrap them in foil and cook them like that.
Yeah.
And it's a delicacy for me.
Yeah.
Like you can jam every restaurant in Sydney up your ass for just a little yellow belly wrapped in a bit of foil with a bit of onion and butter in it.
Remember the Good Friday with you a couple of years back?
Was that Wyangler?
Yeah, Wyangler.
Oh, geez, we filleted in some fish that day.
Me and Marto let's go out and get some yellow. So I jumped on Marto's boat. No, you jumped on mine.
No, I was with you.
No, I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I was with you,
yellows.
and then Marto went out with, was it Riles?
Well, I caught the cod with Marto.
I think Rolls was on the tube.
Yeah, he might have been actually,
I
yeah.
can't remember who was in my boat.
I'm just thinking of it where we're like, yeah, we'll go get something. Anyway, we end up grabbing a cod. What was that?
That wasn't it. You're trying to bring this up now.
Was this Easter?
Just trying to destroy my soul, aren't you? Is that what you're trying to do this? No, that was Easter. No, that was Easter because you and me went in for a morning cod run, and I had a couple of them big follows.
That's right, yeah.
Then we got to that tree, and you were up the front and I was at the back of the boat, and you said, I think this is a yellow belly, let me tie a grab on. Instead of saying, come up here, Matt, I think this is a cod, and you use a cod lure. He said, hang on, I'll just tie a grab on and see if I can get this yellow belly. 84 centimetre yellow belly he thinks he's seen on the tree.
Old Daddy Marto had to come out here.
Yeah. So then you jagged it, I'll say that. You jagged it, then got it tied up, then it was freezing cold and you said you were going to jump in and under the boat and get it.
I had Ugg boots, 2 jumpers on and tracksuits.
So Daddy Marto then had to come into play and said, for fuck's sake, you're not jumping out of this boat because you come up and knock your head on the bottom. And as you're stripping your clothes off, you give me the rod.
Yeah.
And then I gave him a bit and played him out. And then out of the kindness of your heart, like a 10-year-old kid, I give you back the rod to pull in your
Thanks,
fish.
Daddy.
Yeah, and this was this supposed little yellow belly that you were going to
well,
tie you.
fuck. I remember looking at it, and it was right before he ate it. Like, it honestly looked like yellow on the side of a little pine tree looking thing. And he was only like 5 metres under, so he wasn't deep. It dropped my grub down, and then as it's like the grubs come past him and he's turned up on the live scope, he just kept growing. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, oh, this. And then when he grabbed it and he took off, I was like, oh, yeah, no, this is a cod. And you could see him when he was snagged on live scope. You could see how big he was. I'm like, oh, he's not a bad cod. I'm getting in for this. And here's Daddy Marto. No, you're fucking not getting in that cold water.
We got him.
He was only snagged like a metre under. So I was like,
Oh, right.
I can get that.
Almost see him.
Yeah.
He was not.
Yeah, he was right at the top when he was snagged. I hooked him like 5 metres down, but he snagged right at the top. It was the last little limb. You could see him wrapped around it, and he was like, every time he kicked, he'd spring back towards a tree. And then you give it to Daddy Marto, and he fixes your problems.
Yep. Untangles all your worries.
Yeah, mate, I'll sort him out.
So, Marto, there is something I wanted to ask you.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know. How did a bloke that grew up in Ningen on the Bogan end up at Hamilton Island, living in Hamilton Island?
Oh, yeah. This is a good story. So, we're at the farm, and for 3 years during the early 2000s, the millennial drought, I think they call it,
Yeah.
official term, we carted water every second day, and we're up with chainsaws cutting scrub for cattle and sheep every second day after that. For nearly 3 years straight, we lost. And then it come to a stage where everything was dead anyway. Like, we just couldn't keep up. And I was down to me last few cows and calves that I'd bought since high school. And then it rained. And I said, I'm going to sell them, and I'm going to do a trip to go fishing, because my brother at this stage was living in Bowen. He'd lived at Bowen there for quite a few years, and I'd got a taste when he got married of mud crabs and barra in the mangrove, like just fishing the mangroves. And I always wanted to go to Broome. So I had a ute and a swag, and I got $3,000 in the bank for selling 6 cows and calves, and I'd mustered some feral goats, and I thought, I'm going to go for a trip, see my brother, then I'm going to drive across the top over to Broome. My life's then complete. I'll come back to the farm. So I drove up to my brother Paul, got settled in there, and we were having a few beers for the first week, and I remember watching the movie Cocktail as a younger bloke, and I thought,
Cocktail?
Yeah. Remember Cocktail? With
I don't think I've seen it, to be honest.
Brown and Cruz and... it has the best soundtrack on the planet.
Yeah, righto.
Anyway,
Give it a check out.
it was mixing cocktails, and they meet up at the end on this tropical island. And I always thought, shit, I wouldn't mind going to tropical island. So I said to Paul, before I leave here, I might go out to, going to go out to Hamo. I said, how do I get out there? And he said, you got to go back into Chute Harbour, and to get there, you got to go through Airlie Beach. And Airlie Beach at this stage, back in the early 2000 or mid 2000s, was at the top of its game. It was backpacker heaven, parties 24
central.
hours a day. So I had to make it through this 100 metres of Airlie Beach to get to Chute Harbour. So I pulled up there and ended up spending 2 days, I think, at Airlie Beach. Had my first foam party. There's a lot of firsts come from a bloke from the bush, like living in drought. I had a lot of firsts and experience there. So
We won't dig into that.
I went to see it, and my brother said, if you might as well go out to Hamilton Island, he said, you might as well stay out there. He said, ring, Andrew Cowan, that you used to play football with in Ningen, like we used to play rugby together, and he used to work in the mines. My brother, he's the logistics officer out there. He said, we'll ring him, see if there's something for you to do, and you might be able to stay out there for a few days. So I rang Andrew, and Andrew said, for God's sake, can you come out here and drive a Manitou and the IT loaders? Because he said none of these sort of university gap year people can know how to fucking operate machinery. And he said, you're out of the farm, just come out and operate these and stay as long as you like. So I went out there to see him. I got off the boat. The very first woman I met is now my wife. I went and seen Andrew off the boat. Andrew introduced me to Jen, and I just caught up with his wife because I knew Sherelle, and then I thought, shit, she's not a bad daughter of a sort, And them little daisy jukes and the shit they wear out in Hamilton Island is pretty spectacular. So I said, righto, Andrew, I'm in. I'll help you drive. And he said, I'll get you inducted. And he said, it doesn't matter if you stay for 3 weeks or 3 months. You just work here at the warehouse. So I went and got inducted, and they got me into staff accommodation. And then the 2 blokes that worked on the island at the port, they were 2 brothers from Brisbane. They owned a yacht, and they were on their way to do a trip around Australia in their yacht. Made it as far as Hamilton Island, and thought, fuck it, I got a job here. Let's just pull up. And it was My Maria or something. This name of this yacht, this little yacht. So I teamed up straight over those two brothers, and then we got inducted. And then Hamilton Island, there's staff bars, and there's people wearing things that. Yeah, you've never seen in the bush before, but like at the staff bar. At the staff bar is a pretty spectacular place because that's where, if you're staff, you're allowed to let your hair down there. Like you're not allowed to really do it out in front of guests.
Yeah, gotcha.
So at the staff bar, you want to do that, you can do that. Like it's just unreal. And these two brothers, so I was only going to really stay a few weeks, and then. Yeah, I knew my wife was there, my future wife. Sorry, I'll pursue her.
You're confident early.
Yeah, the two brothers owned this yacht, and about 2 weeks in a stay with them, they said, "Oh, we're going to go for a sail this weekend around Whitehaven Island and further Wet Sunday Island down Whitehaven Beach." And I said, "Do you want to jump in?" Fuck yeah, I want to jump in. I said, "I'm mad on fishing. Do you do any fishing?" And they said. Yeah, bring your fish, bring whatever you like. And we went for a sail this first weekend and stayed in a place called Sid Harbour, which is in between Hook Island and Whitsey Island. It's a pretty sort of famous place. I think it was something to do with the Navy, used to put ships in there to hide or something. And I stayed in Sid Harbour that night, and then we sailed around and along Whitehaven Beach the next day and everything. And I thought, yeah, maybe it's not a bad sort of a place. And then you meet once you become part of the island culture and stuff. Like, because a lot of people don't talk to you unless you're there for a bit because they think you're a worker that's coming and going. Yeah. And once you're there, like for a period, then the island just opens up for you, and you're into all sorts of things. And
the VIP pass.
Yeah, and I was working on Front Street and then at the warehouse, and then I got the job as island handyman. So I had my own van. There's no bugger all vehicles on the island, but I had my own van with every light switch, hook, tap washer, everything else. So all the restaurants would ring you or staff accommodation say, "Can you come change your tap washer for me?" Yeah. I had the keys to the island. I could get airport side. I could get wherever. So I was running like the Hamilton Island Mafia for a while. I was blacklisted. Like a restaurant would ring you and say, "We've got 2 leaking taps. We need 2 lights done before open. We open at 11 o'clock. Blah, blah, blah." You say, "Yeah, right, eh?" But I said, Romano's, or you say one of the other restaurants, they got tap, and they're a lunchtime restaurant on the island too. I've got to go there first. And they'd say, "Well, what will it take you to get here?" And you say, "Well, what are you cooking?" I walked, like saffron, which is many, many years ago, saffron was the most expensive thing on the planet that used to trade.
Yeah.
And I had tubs of it. Like from these restaurants, because they said it was good to cook rice and crabs or fish with or something. Yeah. And I said, "Well, you got to do that saffron." And that was, you trade that for a change of tap washer just in time before opening season. Or go airport, it was magic there for a while. But then we start having kids, and then the Hamilton Island sort of party atmosphere starts sort of winding back to reality. Then you got. Yeah, there's at times where your kids are meant to, if they're at a pool and the guest kids come along, your kids are meant to step out of the road. And you don't want your kids growing up to be like a second class. So then we moved off the island, and we moved over to Hamilton Island. But that's how I got there and stayed. So it was originally through knowing someone, then it was chasing skirt, and then I ended up marrying her and got 3 beautiful boys. So I was a boy from Hermidale, lived 3.5 years on Hamilton Island, 7 years at Mackay at the coal terminals chasing crabs, and that's where we done all the ABT Barra tours and stuff. Yeah. And then when 3 boys get old enough, you sort of want to bring them home and see. They introduce them to what
where
you used
it all
to do.
started.
Yeah, and all my mates, a lot of my mates had kids the same age, so we come home. Yeah. But as you were saying before about Dubbo, my wife said, "Fuck that, Dubbo's the last of the civilisation. We're not going further out there. Like you can drive out there every weekend. We're staying here." And now she loves the place. So, her father, as I said, was a ship captain. They just travelled from port to port. Like they lived in Gladstone and Newcastle and Groot, I think it is. Groot. Yeah. Well, when that was, I think that might have been before Jen was born. But he was a ship captain, so they just always had to look at
Wherever the
ocean.
wind blows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now she's out Dubbo with me that smells like gum leaves and fucking won't leave the place. It's good. I think I've won her.
Hey.
I don't think she'll go back now.
Well, how long have you been back in Dubbo now?
Must be near 11 or 12 years or something.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, she
Pretty
won't
solid.
leave. She won't leave anywhere now. Even if I said I want to go back to Hamilton, let's go back to Hamilton Islands.
Nah.
Go by yourself. And I actually did that last year. I went back up for my brother's 50th, and we said, we're going to go to Hamilton Island 50th, and she said, you'll be right. You take the boys, and away you go. I'm happy at home.
Yeah.
So I went up to Hamilton Island where we met. Me and the boys had a party on Hamilton Island by ourselves, and with other stuff, because I've still got, believe it or not, there's still people on the island that I know me from when I was there, like we were friends with. So I was still back at the staff bar, which is the cheapest beer on the island. I was on mates' tabs there, like they got tabs. They said, no, she's all looking after.
Yeah.
The only thing I couldn't get was the fucking golf buggies now. They got trackers on them, so they only let you into certain areas because they're like the touristy golf buggies. So I tried to launch it straight in the staff bar, and it just went off its tits. It's buzzing and firing at me. And I thought, what's going on? And it comes up on the map. Oh, you're not let in this zone.
Yeah.
And then another one of the tradies that in the golf buggy coming behind me, and he sort of gave me a bit of a nudge, and I only just made it there, but we stayed there for quite a bit. It was good.
That's brilliant.
So while you're at Mackay, you start getting into the Barra tournaments.
Yeah. Because I'm just mad on fishing and crabbing and anything to do with water. So there was the Barra tournament. So we had a bit of a scary time on Hamilton Island with one of the pregnancies, and Jen got flown off the island in a helicopter, and I had to drive down to Mackay from Hamilton Island. I had to get the boat off and drive down by myself, thinking, there's pregnancy and she was in a helicopter, and there's you're stressed for 2 hours. Just you don't know what
what's going on.
And you're in the car by yourself, and we got down there, and I got to the hospital in Mackay, and they said, "Oh no, everything went well." It was a appendix. While she was heavily pregnant, it was an appendix thing, and they said, "Well, I've breath through care, I got appendix out. She's resting now. Go do yourself." So I went to a shop. It's an old shop in Mackay called Barra Pro.
Yeah,
and that's why I like going into a barra shop is part of my stress relief. Like, it's just your mind disappears off things because you're looking at stuff on the wall. That's why I'm in the boys' tackle shops all the time, because you forget about stuff. You're thinking, oh, how am I going to use that? Why am I going to use it? Like, it's an avenue. Yeah. And I ended up spending 2 hours in Barra Pro, and it's only the smallest little tackle shop in Mackay. And I'll end up having a Yarndale mate there, and he used to run a bit of a comp. And I said while I was in town, I said, I just keep my mind off things. I just wouldn't mind looking at the tackle. And he said, yeah. And he ended up talking to me for hours, and we sat down and had a good chat until it was visiting time. Like, I'd go back to the hospital. I went back to the hospital. And then from then on, I always thought about, I'm going to go in his Barra tournament. And it was the Barra Pro Barra tournament. Yeah. And then it's more like a social event. Like, it's lure only, but it's very sociable. And then I thought, this is all right. Then the ABT was coming up, and then I bought a better boat, and I thought, let's do the ABT tournaments. And then it just
took off from there.
Yeah, went mad. Like, we entered tournaments all over the place. We were going to Awonga and Modron and up to Peter Faust Dam. And like, my kids learnt to swim at Conway Beach Caravan Park on the mouth of the Prossie River, because we used to just go up there every fortnight on the neat tides and fishing there, and we'll fish it. I used to fish the Prossie River nearly every fortnight. I even go up there, and it just started. And the whole fishing crowd and community they do nothing but want to help you, and especially in the tournament scene. Like, everyone thinks it's a bit, they're a bit upper class. They think they've got these boats and that boats, but you go there and talk to them, it's unbelievable. Like, they do nothing but want to help you. Yeah. Or get on my boat and have a look at this, or send me, like Craig Griffiths, which was one of the premier barra fishermen in the world. He jumped in our boat and helped me set up all the sounders and then take it for a lap, and then camped beside us and said, oh, come and follow us to this point. You'd go to that point, and like, legend. And then Jason Wheelam used to pull you up the pub, and I went over and said, how'd you go today? And you'd tell him, oh, we struggled a bit here and there, and then he'd tell you, well, next time you go there, and that you got to try this, or you got to do that. And then to me, that was heaven. And that was just like the bush where I grew up in the bush, everyone helps everyone. Like that's
Yeah.
where you get that mentality. Like I was homesick as buggery living in Queensland, but it was just them people that do nothing but want to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the same as being at home out in the bush. And then,
Taste of home.
and I do it now. Like people, I think we're at the tackle shop that day, and I'll make come up and just introduce yourself and ask them, and I'll tell them anything. Like there's no secrets to me. Like there's millions of yellow belly, and now since LiveScope, we know that there's millions of cod.
Cod, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Everywhere.
if I've got to try and hold back information of why some bloke and his kids can't catch one, well then I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you anything to go for cracking them.
Yeah, for sure.
Help you along. So it's good. But in the tournament world, and that's why I love the tournament world, I love the fact that there's always somebody that's going to kick your ass and beat you outright, like, no matter how good you think you are.
Yeah.
But then you have a yard in the day and he'll tell you exactly how he was going about and how to help you catch that next fish.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's
Exactly one thing that I don't know if I spoke about that before, but in my early days, I was the same. My first ever comp was a ABT non-boater at Glenbourne. Never caught a bass, never seen a bass, never even heard of a bass. Signed myself up, and as a non-boater, you jump on a few blokes' boats every session, whatnot. And it was. I learnt more in that weekend than I had learned by myself in 5 years of fishing.
Yeah.
Like I was just, they just
it's a very
taught me.
steep learning curve
And-
on a weekend going to a tournament.
Yeah.
And blokes will get upset because they think they're the greatest fishermen at the pub. And
Yeah, exactly.
They get in a tournament and they realise they've got to fish in the wind or whatever it may be that day.
Yeah, and they shoot
someone's
themselves.
nominated 8 months before that you have to fish that day in that time slot and do that, to get your fish. And then the greatest fisherman at the pub fails in the first hour and wants to go home.
Yep.
But good fishermen will stay there through it, or even and a lot of learners will stay there through it. And at the end of the day, everyone's trying to help them to catch fish.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's
This is a big shout. Actually, while we're there, Mitchy Cone, shout out for the Blue Rock win. That was unreal. But this story involves Mitchy Cone, and this is when I was 17. And it was my second ever comp, and it was at Sinclair. I can't remember what comp it was. But anyway, I'd gone this dam, never even seen it, never caught a bass in it. It's my second ever time fishing a tournament. I went out, didn't even get a bite, touching nothing. And I was like, shit, I'm no good at this. Like, I'll tap it on the bonnet. Went back, and this comp, they had a communal fire. It's going to come to me in a minute what this comp was. A really good comp to start out if you want to get into bass. And the first bloke I walked up to was Mitch Cone and Reese Tiggerman. Two absolute bopper bass fishers. And I didn't know that they were bopper bass fishers. Like, I've just
Two
walked up
blokes
to them.
standing around a fight.
And the fella that run it, Wayne Tiggerman, which is Reese's old fella,
Yeah.
he said, mate, come down to communal fire, get to know everyone. And here I am going, fuck. Yeah, righto. And I've walked down this fire. As I said, walked down these two boys. And, how'd your day, boys? And they're like, we got 30. And I'm like, fucking hell. Let's just do that. And, mate, by 3 hours later on the piss, Mitchy Cone said to me, mate, have you got Cortex? I said, yeah, I've been told about Cortex. That's what I threw all day. He said, righto. This is what you do. You've been fishing weed patches? And I'm like, yeah, I'm running them up the side. I'm fucking running them in the inside. And he's like, throw them in the middle of it. I was like, what? He said, throw your jig head and your Kitech in the middle of that, shake the absolute shit out of it, rip it out of the weed, and as soon as you feel free, let it sink. My very next session that morning, I had my bag in 15 minutes. It was absolutely unreal. And I remember it was... touch wood, it'll probably never happen again. But that session, so this
Family Bassin.
Family Bassin.
I was about to say,
Wayne
it's got to
Tiggerman,
be a
Family
Family
Bassin.
Bassin tournament.
And that next, he does session prizes. So even if you go shit, you can win the next session, blah, blah, blah. I come third in that next session after Mitch Cone told me what to do. And I was like, fuck, mate. I said, all I want to do is go up and just shake this bloke's hand. And I got back and he wasn't there. He doing his own thing. And I went out that afternoon. The bloke I was fishing with had to go home. So I had to fish the last session on the Sunday by myself. I was like, fuck, the pressure's on. Like, and overall, we're only sitting fucking 15th or whatever. It was not important. And I went up to this point, and lo and behold, Mitch Kane comes around the corner. And I said, oh, hey, mate. I said, look, I've got to thank you. Your technique's fucking... He said, yeah, I seen you walk up yesterday. I was like, yeah, sweet. And anyway, Mitchie won that comp with Reese. It was a fancy dress too. I won the fancy dress, PTW. And
I can picture you looking good as a woman.
I wore a fucking tuxedo.
Oh, tuxedo.
I wore a tuxedo fishing. And, yeah, ended up catching me bag that day. And I think I ended up jumping into like 5th or 4th place, which was in the prize money.
Oh, wow.
So I literally caught nothing, bag, and I won. Oh, well, didn't win. Fucking, yeah. And I got some prize money back, and I thought that was the coolest thing I've ever fucking done. And then it was funny because it was like I started fishing AYC, and like 3 or 4 comps in, Mitch Cone come in. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to return the favour because he was catching fish, but we were on good fish, and it was right when Hardman was starting to shake transients and we all didn't know what was going on. And anyway, we found fish in the midsection of Windermere and I said, mate, this is what we're doing. He ended up catching fish. And he said, and I shit you not, I was like, he'll never remember me from 4 or 5 years ago. He fucking did. He was like, return the favour, eh? And I was just like, holy shit. I respect you. Like, and top bloke, like him and... Actually, it's Langer's birthday today. Did you see that?
Oh.
Matty Langford's
Matty Langford,
birthday.
yeah.
So, yeah, no, and just the tournament vibe of that is, yes, you can be scared out of your boots thinking you're going to jump into this with all these professionals and they're all secretive. But you take that leap, you're going to learn so much more in that first initial step. It's like you're going to excel your fishing ability just from talking to people, whether it's on the boat, around the fire, at the end of the competition.
Yeah, that's probably another key too. Like if you go to the Galvo's team fishing events or the new FFCs and just don't stay in your own camp where you think you're comfortable.
No.
If you get out, everyone wants to chat. Like our stickheads are everywhere, and we'll have a beer or a port or a rum or whatever.
Stones.
And stones, like the stones. Yeah, but you don't. You just if you start having a yarn of people and just introduce yourself, they share everything with you.
Oh yeah.
If you go then and just say I'm going to camp at this back point and I don't really know anyone here, then you don't get that experience.
Yeah.
Where if you have that experience and you go and have that few beers or have a yarn, just at the boat ramp, have a yarn, and 9 times out of 10 they'll say, oh, if you're hanging around, we're having a beer over at this fire, and then you wait, and I'll be at any fire. So
you'll be the one stacking it and keeping it stoked.
Me and fire have gone through a lot.
Hey, as we've said before, like you're the person who's you can't leave a good fire. They're early morning, have to get up early to go fishing, and they're still stoking it up. Hey,
can't leave a good fire.
Nah, cannot. Yeah, what a lot of people don't realise is you actually gave him my start in tournament fishing. Hey. I'd never done.
He was your greenhorn for the year.
I was your greenhorn for the year. What was that? 3-4 years ago.
Which one did we do first?
AYCs.
Windermere?
Yeah, but where did we go first?
Barndong.
Was it Barndong?
Pretty sure Barndong was the first round.
That's right, you, me and Ross, wasn't it?
Yeah, you, me and Ross. And yeah, it's just like that thing. Like
who won that comp?
Oh, go away.
It wasn't you.
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't you. No, this is the year before that.
No, he started the year we won Barndong.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Is this...
You and Orky won the next year.
I can't remember.
Oh, you're dead
And then
right.
me and Riley
No,
beat you
you're
in the
dead
grand
right.
final.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Me and Riley beat you in the grand final anyway. So
He had a weak pre-fish, everyone.
Yeah,
no, we did. We had a good... That was a good... We got some
2
nice
years.
yellow, didn't we?
Yeah, did we do 2 years?
And we ended up having about 5 or 6 top 10 finishes and prize packs. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I was trying to work out which was the first, but it was because you and me, we went for the pre-fish out there a couple of times, and then Ross jumped in.
Yeah. Well, this is back when I never thought growing up doing fishing. I was always been a river fisher. I'd barely even fished dams before I started hanging out with you guys, and I never thought I'd ever do a tournament. And then, as I think convinced me more than anything.
Yeah. I was like, get the fuck into it.
Yeah, get into it. And I was just like, not good enough to hang out with the tournament guys.
Bullshit.
I really don't want to do this. I don't think I'll stack up. And then I think you must have told Marto, hey, he's sort of thinking about it.
You were looking for someone, he wanted
come out of
to fish it.
that Windermere Easter trip, I think. Because you fished with us chasing cod for most of that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then I think Az said, you wouldn't mind fishing for your tournaments. And I said, well, we're going to try and do as many as we can this year.
Yeah.
And then it went from there.
Cracked on. But, yeah, best experience. I'm still doing it to today.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely bloody love it.
And I don't want to dibble on it twice in 2 weeks or 2 episodes, but fucking cod nats is on, right? I cannot wait. And it was funny because...
Well, there's a lot of fisherman tournaments on this year.
Oh,
this year. I think we've already got 10
8
lined up.
And there's...
Yeah.
I got 8.
This the FFC teams. Are you doing the AYC 5000?
Yeah.
This is a shout out to one of our listeners, Timmy Cooper.
Oh, good bloke.
He shot us a message, and it was unreal because last week we spoke about fishing the cod nats for our first time, something I've always wanted to do, and absolutely love it. I'm going to read it out. So he's like, lads, my first year doing the cod nationals as well. Should be unreal for the few days. Be great to catch up with you legends for a beer in a can. And mate, respect.
Tick.
Look, first of all, you're in a can. Love your work. Until we get to the pub and we're probably going to have a few skewies. But it's cool to have someone else like that. We don't know. We're going to meet you, Timmy. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
But you know what's in store when we rock up. We're going to all dress up as women. So... we're all going to bond very, very well. Marto does not know about this. Have you listened to last week's episode?
I've seen Boothie dressed up in a dress with Margo.
That's the thing.
I think that's his...
I haven't actually seen him whistle through the house, but I did see him in a photo the other day.
So the greenhorns of the comp have to do a makeup and a dress up as a woman and catwalk.
Yeah.
Well, Dane might struggle, but you would have no drama.
Oh, mate.
You've probably got the wardrobe already.
I guarantee there's a worm on the ground somewhere. I'm going to do it, whether I'm in a mini skirt or a fucking whatever. You name it. It's happening. But I'm going to have the best and brightest lippy. Chupapi.
I'm going to doing all the Galvos events, all the teams, and then I'm going to do all the new FFCs. Because they're at home dams anyway.
Yeah.
But I like fishing other dams. Like Galvo throws a Mulwalla in. Now he's throwing a Barrenjack in.
That's brilliant.
Love Barrenjack.
Absolutely brilliant. Galvo's thought outside the box with this shit.
And they're good. And they're good. They're good dams. And then Bruce is having at the end of the year the
AYC 5000.
Yeah, the one-off Golden Classics.
AYC 5000.
Is that what he's called?
It's $5,000. So I think that's what it's called, AYC 5000.
Yeah.
And then there's having the mega raffle, which you used to, the mega raffle that they're famous for at the Cod Classics.
Oh, son.
He's having the one-off mega raffle at the Yellow Belly. So, everyone, I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but it is one of the greatest raffles. They've just taken a photo of the lures and the reels and the rods and it's heaven. It's a raffle that involves in heaven. It's a raffle that God would have.
TVs, fridges.
Angles.
You fucking name it. Sounders, boat motor. I want a boat motor once.
Yeah?
Yeah. 6-horse Hemi.
What are the Cod? One of the Cod Classics?
Yeah. So he used to have this is going back.
You sure you used to get drunk and steal it?
No, I didn't. I tried to sell it before I left
6-horse
because I couldn't fit it in my ute to come home. I was like, anyone want a 6-horse for cheap? Because I literally packed my ute and I was like, I can't fit it. It ended up living on the passenger seat, strapped in with a seatbelt all the way home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thank God I didn't hit the anchors.
Oh, dear.
Now, I'm going for these, and because I spoke to you about it before around the fire, but it's the average.
Yeah.
It's the average that you like. There's 2 lots of teams of the year on offer this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Braddo and Hodgie and Banksy won last year, and that to me is the pinnacle. Not winning one off or here off or smashing won your home dam. It's getting the points up to be at the end of the year. Like,
Consistency is key.
yeah. Like, that's what I love. Like, I think me and Az have been on the piss a few nights, crying and drunk and telling each other we love each other and stuff. And then I've said to him, like, I would rather be the best, not the best, but consistent over all the dams. Like, you know, when just
you don't want to be a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
You don't-
like and I've fished
One
Barra,
dam wonder.
To me now, I could think I could go to the Queensland Barra dams and fish right. Bass is still a bit of a touch and go subject, but just fish all the dams, you know, and being able to consistent catch fish. Like, you're not necessarily winning. Oh, I don't care about winning, but I like to be competitive.
Yeah,
that
for
makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah.
No matter where I go. And then the yellow belly things, I love that, just to be competitive.
What do you got the smile about, mate?
Speaking of which,
What?
Which?
put your hands together. Because Dane, on the weekend, has just beat his PB not once,
Twice.
but twice. Twice in one weekend, and I got to witness a big girl. So well done, mate. We're 70 mil closer to the magic meter.
Yeah. No.
Tell us about it.
Bit of a surprise, to be honest. I remember with me and
We had a
Marto.
good yarn before it.
Yeah, we did.
We had a good yarn for it. It went straight out.
Yeah, so me and Marto are sitting there and we're watching all these. It's about 6 o'clock. We're watching all these boats leave, and I started getting a bit itchy. I went, Marto, I got to go. I got to go. All these boats are heading out. They head out straight away, go up to the back of Windermere, find this bank. I went, that looks all right. Give it a go.
I told you where it got them the weekend before, though, and that's what we aimed for, didn't you?
I don't know.
Remember how we had that little secret about the trees and the...
Yeah, you were saying that.
These fuckers left me out on this. Hang on. Whoa up. Something ain't right.
Yeah, so...
Can't tell you everything. You tell everything.
Yeah, so headed up the back on it. These trees look all right. Straight away, chucked on this new swim bait aboard, and
What was it?
the old SB Barra 176.
Old.
The owl. Owl.
176 SB Barra
spanking,
from
brand
Bone.
Brand's back and new, straight out of the packet. I hadn't even changed hooks on it. And I was like, I'll give it a go. I got a couple of taps in the first 5-10 minutes. I went, they're here. They're definitely here. And then, bang, get something on, reel him in, and she's a thick fish. And I was like, this is awesome. Trying to net a big fish by yourself is scary. I'll
It's
tell
a
you that.
shit show, eh?
There's that many times it took lunges and that sort of stuff. I'm like, I'm going to
Come
lose
on, at least
this.
you had net for your biggest one.
Yeah.
He rang up me back in camp, and I said, Jen, we've got to go. Like, get in the boat, we've got to go. We've got to run up Bragman up Dane. And she said, what do you mean? And then he was halfway through his story, and I got excited because I was on my way with the Bragman. And he said, no. He said, I'd need it.
For the next one.
It's already gone. I said, so it's not in the boat. I'm on my way. Like, just stay there. And he said, no. He said, I've released it already.
Yeah.
I thought, well, shit, I'll have another beer then. And then but I was calling Jen, like, come on, we're going to go.
Yeah, so I'd caught this fish, and it was my PB. I knew it was going to be my PB. It's big, solid fish. And I only had my yellow brag mat when it went up to 80. And it was overhanging it by 4 or 5 centimetres. I went, that'll do me. I know it's going to be my PB. Sweet. Released it, called Marto. I said, I forgot to bring the big brag mat up to get a proper measurement. Can you run it up? Anyway, he had another beer, ran it up for me like the good bloke he is, and put it in my boat and went away fishing. Anyway, I only got a couple more hits that day. I didn't get any more hookups. I went, bugger it. I'm chuffed. Absolutely happy as Larry. I've caught me PB for the weekend. Went back, snuck a few beers. Anyway, as came up, what are you doing tomorrow morning? I said, I think we need to go for a codfish, I reckon.
Yeah.
And straight back to the same spot. We left at what, 5:30? 5:30. It's probably a 20-minute run, 15.
Oh, no, yeah, well, shit, yeah. 5:30 we were on the water,
Yep.
and it was 5:45 when you had your fish. It was fucking
5 to 6,
instantaneous.
Like that morning, I got on the water at 4:45 in front of you.
Yeah, you were already gone before I even got up.
But I never really got a touch until you had gone past me. So
I didn't even see you.
But that
No,
was...
I don't remember
We
that.
were zooting.
That was so you went 5. So virtually the sun was up, and there was not up, but there was a good amount of glow.
Starting to peak behind.
Good amount of glow on the water before they really started to pick up the pace.
Yeah. Well, it's just when that first light's starting to crack and you actually see with your own eyes everything around you.
Yeah.
Me and Az are fishing in the same spot, scanning around. I see this fish up tight and didn't really pay much attention. Chucked up. And Aaron, you can probably speak to what my face did.
I can fucking tell this story like a motherfucker. Do you care if I tell it?
No, go.
Because it was the most roller coaster experience I've ever seen a bloke go through. Like, you know the withdrawals the junkies get?
No, I don't.
Don't tell us about it. Let's go.
I shit you not, right? So he threw out. We knew there was a fish there, but the scope wasn't on it.
No,
and we're like,
bit of a blind cast.
Oh, yeah, whatever. And anyway, halfway back, he's going, oh. And I just seen his facial expression drop, and it was like the most depressed I've ever seen this fella. And he was like, I just got a hit. And he's turned to me, and I could see the frustration in his head. And I'm like, mate, I'm so sorry.
And it was one of those hits that you knew, like, solid. Like, you knew it was going to be good. And I went, fuck. Righto.
He's like, after this hit, he hasn't really concentrated on what he was doing because there must have been a little bit of slack line or it wasn't winding as quick because when this fish come back, it was like, I reckon 3 seconds after the first hit. And he's going, I've just got a hit. And as soon as he turned back around, it's just going fucking crunk. And I'm going, holy shit. And I'm looking at his rod and I'm like, a snake kilo venom, that's a fair bend in that. I said, is that a good fish, Dane? And he said, I don't know. I was like, oh, shit, righto. Anyway, I've gone and got the net and I'm waiting over the side. Anyway, the fish has come up the side and I got the first glimpse of it and I seen its head and it looked pretty small. And then when it rolled, I was like, oh, shit. I was like, this is going to go close. And I turned it, and I don't think Dane got a good look at it because he was like, is it? And I'm like, this is going to go close, man. This is fucking... And because I got excited, he got excited. So like 2 Teletubbies on the front deck just going, yeah. And when the fish has spun back up, straight in the net, clunk. And I'm going,
I remember I had to ask you because it was over your side of the boat and I tried to get it up the top.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure it was quite there. And you netted it. I went, is it in the net? You're like, yeah, mate. I was like, started shaking.
And like, I'm looking at this thing in net and I'm like, fuck, it's got the curves for a metre, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, it's just not there. And Dane, he's put his rod down and said, mate, fucking chill out, sit on the seat. I'll sort your fish out and I'll fucking bring it down to you. And because I know the excitement of your first like proper big fish, and I knew this was his PB, and you just like it's kind of teamwork still. You got to, righto, mate, fucking sit down, focus yourself, get ready,
enjoy the moment.
I'll sort the fish out for you. I'll whack it on your legs, and we'll get some awesome photos. And as I plonked this fish on the deck, he couldn't help himself. He's gone from sitting down and going, and he stood up. He's like, oh my god, no. Yeah. We've opened its mouth, and here's this SB barra. Flat out, bang on its tongue. I'm like, he's proper engulfed this, mate. And he said, as he met the rib, I said, man, no, get some photos of it. That's some pretty cool shit. So we got some quick photos, took hooks out, dumped the fish back in the water, got set up, ready to get some photos. And I said, mate, I'm probably going to have to use flash because it's not quite bright enough yet. So I brought the fish back in, slapped on the brag mat, bang, 93, couple of fives, well done, mate. And I've got a video of it, and we'll put it up with this episode too.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. He's standing up and he's got this fish rolled over his arm. And the first thing you hear in this video, he's like, is my belly sticking out?
I just felt a little bit of wind on the bottom of my belly. I'm like, my shirt's tucked up. I was like, I don't want to have my belly button sticking out with big fish.
And yeah, it was kind of good because we got some really good photos, unreal release video. And then like from there on, like this is 10 to 6.
Yeah.
And we were just like, fuck, I don't care what happens after this.
No.
I really don't care if we see another fish. And we fished it was not serious. Like, we were fucking around having
Yeah.
casting competitions and shit like that. And it was just one of those mornings where, like, it's ticked off. There's no need to stress about the rest of the
Yeah,
day.
you're
Let's
relaxed.
just enjoy it. And then I had a fish hit me about 7 times in one retrieve, and I'm like, he's there, he's there, yep, oh, you bastard, come here. And I was just like, he just wouldn't commit.
I had a good. I went that 40 odd minutes earlier than you, but then I was dead. Well, you'd say it was dead, and then it come to about that. What time did it get light? About what time? 5:30,
yeah.
4:45, something. 5:45.
Yeah.
More around 6 o'clock, I suppose. It gets a bit light. And then all of a sudden it went off. Like, I landed 3, but they were like small fellas. But I would have got a good 7 or 8 good strikes. Like, not followed, forget about follows, but strikes on the soft plastics in that hour or an hour and a half from about 6 o'clock to about 7:30. It just really turned a switch sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I thought I'll get out there and I'll watch the sun go. I'll
Did you swim?
And I'll beat you.
Did you swim in your
There was
Espy?
nothing for about the first hour, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. It was happening all everywhere.
That Espy barrow, like, outfished anything for us, eh?
Yeah, well,
Like,
yeah.
did you swim one that weekend?
Yeah, I swum one quite a bit actually. I had probably about 3/4 of an ounce on the front on the bib, because just to try and get down a bit quicker.
Yeah, it's about
what
what I
we
had
had.
on.
Yeah.
I found that we had to swim it a bit faster to get a really good action that I was like did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a couple. I got a couple of hits, a hell of a lot of follows. Like, they were very interested in it, but I just couldn't get the barbs in. Like, I had a few hits,
That's what you
a
strike
lot
for.
of follows, and it just didn't happen for me for that particular.
It did for us.
Little
Like,
one, yeah.
Yeah.
that was our first runs with the Espy barrows, and
Yeah,
mate,
great.
if you,
Oh, it
if you
definitely
don't
is. Like,
have
I
one,
used it a lot. Like, I see there was a lot of fish coming out of the sides and coming up that were and chasing it, and I got a few hits on it, but I just part of codfish and I just didn't get the barbs in.
And it's the
it.
same as Dane's. Like, it was funny because it hit him and then come back. Like, me as a fisherman chasing cod on live scope, you don't see that. They hit it once and that's them. They're fucking gone. Like, and it was funny because, like, I was in Dane's deep hole with him. I was like, he's missed his shot. But this thing to come back, look, I kind of wish we had the scope on him just to see how he reacted after he hit it,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whether he was right behind it or whatnot. But when Dane caught that, it was like you weren't winding fucking slow, were you?
No, well, that's the thing. It's just like at the start, I was winding slow and then got the hit and went, I'll reel him in a bit
And he
quicker.
absolutely engulfed it.
Yeah, that's right.
It made a
He
176
wasn't
mil
watching it
lure.
on live scope though, was he?
No,
And
we
that's
didn't.
probably where he got that good chance to engulf it.
To be all honest,
like most of the fish I had that weekend, I think live scope just give you the confidence in the area to see the fish and follow that.
Yeah.
But the fish I caught, not one of them were on live scope. I didn't target
Yeah.
any of them. They just come out and smashed it. I was just doing my normal casting to on your 45 degrees from your boat, your bank, and just casting every little laneway or every bit I thought it was fish.
I hate
I
when
don't
fish
think
like
I actually
50 degrees.
landed a fish in the last 2 weeks there, and I've landed 10 in the boat for the last 2 weeks over there, and I don't think... Oh, no, sorry, one of them. So 9 fish have just just free casting.
Blind,
But
yeah.
confident that you're in the right spot.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it was, to be honest, when we seen Dane's fish, we swooped over it, eh? We're like,
Yeah.
it's a fish. Like,
Whatever.
it didn't have the volume. But when you get a fish facing towards you or facing away, they don't look big.
Nah, it
And
looks
that's
like a
the thing.
yellow.
And I don't know who swung the pole. Someone swung it into the bank, and there was more fish there. So, and Dane had already had the cast out there when he was fucking rolling. So, yeah, that fish has come back. But it goes to show, like, not every fish you see isn't small either. Like, you've got to, if you're on the right angle, yes, you're going to get that right fish. But then again, in saying that, like, he could have been trigger happy if it was on the screen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right,
Like that
yeah.
first hit, he
Probably
might have
wouldn't have got
fucking
it.
burn it back. And
And you watch people you watch people all the time get trigger happy off the screen. They're striking at fish before they hit the lure. They watch. That's when people say it's a video game. That's
Boat
That's
Nintendo.
it. You miss them all.
Boat
fish.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's it.
it.
You're watching the screen and not feeling your lure.
Yeah.
And you're striking because you thought you seen him on the TV hit you.
The last meter I caught on, well, you could kind of say live scope, was over at Wangler, and same thing. He was following me out, and I'm like, yep. And the wind was fucking pumping. Like we had 40, 50k winds. It was horrible. And by the time I seen the fish on my arse end, the boat had spun that much, and I was like, he's on my arse already. I can't stop winding. The scope had spun 30 degrees away from him, and I'm winding backwards. And I'm like, yep, he's got to be still on it. And then all of a sudden, clunk. And then got the fish in metre 6 or whatever it was. And I was like, I'm kind of glad the scope spun off, because if I seen him on the arse, hot on the arse of that, I guarantee I would have fucked it up.
And a lot of yellowbelly, when you're grubbing trees and the scope goes off just a bit and leaves you, a lot of people pull up and then they try and look for the fish.
No,
You
just keep going.
You've got to keep your same exactly momentum. Don't pause. Don't just keep whatever the hell you're doing to make him follow all the way to the boat. And 9 times out of 10, he strikes you there. You don't have to,
Exactly.
You don't have to witness it on the screen for him to bite.
No, shit,
It's a
no.
fallacy. It's that's where people panic. People think and they strike at the screen, or they think if he's not on the screen now, he's not there.
Yeah, and they start dropping down where the fish is already on it.
He's following you. He's going to follow you all the way up till he hits.
You got to get that mentality where you got to think
It's a
outside the
good
box.
tool.
There.
You just got to use it as a tool. It's not religion, like sort of thing. It's not.
Use it as a blunt chisel. Like you can fucking chip away as much as you want, but when it's blunt, it's still working. Like just leave it.
If you already know he's following, just keep up exactly the same thing you're doing. You don't have to let go at all and just see him on the screen. He's coming.
Yeah.
He's already on his way.
Yeah. The other cool thing for the weekend was seeing those cod come up that close to the boat.
Was it with you when we sent that metre 20 fucking beautiful looking fish?
Metre 20.
Mate,
He was
85 a minute ago.
I'm glad Dane was in the boat with me, because it was one of those ones where I was like, fuck, I'm glad I had a witness, because
You were near speechless at this point when you
and
brought
I'm
the
hitting
lure
him
up.
like a fucking plover in breeding season. Like
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. I thought he'd like tangled something up or stuffed something. Or what the
I had
fuck?
an Espy barra on, and as I pulled it out of the water, fucking, here's this, lo and behold, this beautiful big green fish, and like his head was huge, like well and truly.
Yeah, he was that clear in the water. You could see his little side fins going.
He was like a puppy dog.
He was sitting there waiting for
half
something.
a foot under the water surface, and here he is with his side fins and just staring at us like a big bobblehead. And I was like,
Like fin to fin, probably 45 centimetres.
oh yeah, he was a fucking. I reckon his head was like very close to a foot wide. Like he was a proper fish.
Yeah.
And
Photo
I'm
of him
glad-
weighed a kilo.
I'm glad Dave was there, because it was one of those ones where you're like, fuck, if no one else seen that, they wouldn't believe you. And lo and behold, the fucking afternoon I go fishing with Marto, what happens?
Another fish came up and had a look.
Another fish comes out the side
He
of
was
the boat.
winking at you.
Oh, he was winking at me.
He was winking at you, that bloke.
So this fish here, well, he's come up the side and I'm blind fishing into the shallows. Anyway, he's followed me right to the boat. Done the exact same thing as this other fish. And he's sitting there just calmly as shit at the side of the boat. I've tapped Marto on the shoulder and said, mate, have a look at this. He's looked directly at the live scope screen, and you can see these fish near parallel with with the electric shaft. He's like, oh, yeah? I'm like, no, actually, look over the side of the boat. You can fucking see him. He was just sitting there, and like he was no metery, but yeah, just I've never had a trip where they've done that. Like
No.
they spook from the boat, and these guys were just
Coming up and having a look.
How you going? I reckon I could ask him for a fucking rum. Like he was just chill as.
Hey.
Couldn't eat me lure though.
No. That's the thing. There was didn't hit the lure, like followed all the way up and just didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
having
thanks
a
for
look at
coming.
you. But yeah, I showed you a video over the weekend. I went off by myself on the Sunday morning. We're pretty late. We had a bit of late on Saturday night, so I started off about.
We all started a bit late.
I didn't even go fishing Sunday morning.
I think it was 7 o'clock or something. I headed off to this little bay right next to where we were camped. Found this big fish, chucked the lure out to him, and he started following it. And all I did is hit the electric and kept on going with the electric. And I videoed the screen just looking at this fish following my lure for like a good 500 metres.
You just wouldn't commit.
But shake the lure a little bit, you get a little bit excited, the tail would wag like a little puppy dog, and then you'd stop it and just keep trolling, and he'd relax a little bit and he'd steer away from you, twitch a little bit and he'd get really excited again.
Yeah. This is why we chase cod.
Yeah. I could not figure him out what to do.
I've got it worked out. And another shout out, Brado. Absolute monster at the dam on the weekend. He is a cod god.
Cod God.
He is a cod god.
Cod God. And a champion bloke.
And it was on Nesby Barra as well.
Yeah, the old Royal Stripe.
Yep. So
Royal
you got
Stripe
on a
colour.
Royal Stripe.
Like when you see Brado and Odgie come in to the park when we're at a tournament, you know
You're in trouble.
You know you got to have your A game on. Like they're good blokes to beat, but they just fucking good at what they do.
Yeah.
The Skiers boys and Brado, like, all been mates with them for many years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
Loomsy.
as soon as you rock and roll in, you say you got to be on your game
Yeah.
because these boys are they don't fuck around.
No.
But it's not just like, yes, they're very, very good at the game, but they're also good people too. Like, I guarantee
Help you,
if
innit?
you're struggling, you hit Skeezy, Nath up or Brado and just go, mate, I'm fucking struggling. Like, they're going to help you out.
Well, not only with fish. Like, I remember a windy comp I did a couple of years ago in AYC, and I drowned me motor guide remote. Motor guide wouldn't work, and I'm like, we're dead in the water here.
Yeah.
Loomsy walked up, was like, you right, mate? I said, nah, me motor guide remote, it's drowned. I can't work it because they're not fucking waterproof for whatever reason. He's like, hang on. Walks over to his boat, comes back with a spare. He's like, link that up and you'll be right.
Yeah.
I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah, mate, go for it.
Fucking oath.
Got the remote, linked him up, did the whole weekend with it. Went back to him, said, here's your remote back. He's like, fix me up later. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, don't worry about it, bro. Fix me up later.
Yeah. I owe so much money to Loomsy right now. I've just
I do too.
ordered
I am a remote. I
just ordered
think he's forgotten
motherboard.
about
He's
it.
a champion all round and round, but one of my more recent greatest moments that I could think of in fishing was when we won the AYC at Barramunidi.
Yeah.
I was fishing with my son Rolls and my brother-in-law, and it was that they're not really in the tournament scene, but it's just bloody good company in the boat, and we fish well, and we come into the Saturday, I think, and you said, Jesus, just well in front. We still had one fish to go for our bag limit. And then I think you were struggling. So I said, come round with us and blah, blah, blah. Come round with us, see if you can get a fish. And we had one fish to go, and Az had sort of lined me up saying, if you get one more fish, he's virtually unbeatable in this tournament. So I had Riley and Ross lined up that if we hook a fish, no matter who catches it, get the GoPro going. We want to film it because this could, we could get this. And I ended up hooking onto a good fish, and I'd seen Riley go straight for the GoPro, his phone or whatever, and he's filming it. And I thought, shit, this is it. This is our bag limit in a very hard competition. Like wasn't many fish caught at all.
It was a tough block,
and
mate.
we'd already had a 61.5 at Barramunidi we had a 58. We had some big fish, and I thought, shit, it doesn't matter what size this fish is. This is our bag, and we were in front. And then it turned up on its side, and it was every bit like I thought, shit, this is another 60. This is another 60 centimetre fish, and I couldn't control myself. I was yahooing and high-fiving into the boat, and I'd lost it. And I thought, shit, we're unbeatable from here. And then I thought, well, because we'd fished this point pretty heavy, and I thought we'll move to another spot, and we were going around the bends, and we're going over to another spot where I had a few trees, and fishing was very, very hard. Like there weren't many caught. And Loomsy was on this point that I knew I knew there was a few fish there that I'd seen them in the pre-fish. And as I went up to it, Loomsy said, "What are you doing?" Like not saying, "What are you doing?" I said, "Fuck you doing coming towards me?" He said, "What is up?" And I said, "Oh, that's all right. Well, I'll move down. There's a few trees out here," but I said, "You keep fish." He said, "No, fuck no." He said, "You're in front of me." He said, "I'll move." He said, "Come on in." And he's waving me, and he said, "Come on in, I'll move." I said, "No, you're there with your kids. We'll go to another spot." No, fuck. And he wound up and he was gone. He said, "You fucking, there's fish there." And you think, that's just a good fella.
In a tournament.
Like, in a tournament. And he's saying, "Fucking get in here. Get in here. This is a fish." But luckily, we'd already caught that one fish that we needed, and I was just going there. But I sort of said, "No, it's all right. We'll keep moving."
We keep moving.
But he said, "Fuck no, matter. You're in front of us. Get in here and you fish this spot." So, and he's done that a few times. He's just a champion bloke. Like,
for sure. Sure.
But then the next highlight of that weekend was, and I got Az to film it. It was Riley when we actually announced the winners, and Riley, I can remember as a baby, only a few years, he couldn't talk at all, like as young, and he got handed the microphone, and I got Az to film it, and he's up on the microphone talking to Bruce about winning the competition and fishing, and that was I watched that video very regularly, just of Riles and the brother-in-law and the presentation. It's a little highlight that you like to relive. It's
treasured moment.
Yeah, you're fishing with your family.
There's one for you, Marto. First day YC I ever won back in 2013 was Barramunidi.
You won't ever win there again, mate. Well, I'd say another good. There's a good comp. I just want to highlight this. It's called the Greg Whitehead Challenge, and they raise money for Greg Whitehead Foundation, and I think they've donated over $200,000. They have great prizes, great family weekend.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's at Barramunidi, and it's called the Challenge because you got 8 fish. You got to catch 8 fish, but it's mixed up. So you got to catch your 4 best yellow belly, your 3 best redfin, and your 1 best cod, and that goes into the challenge.
Yeah,
and goes in the scores, and it's a great event because you got to change it up.
You can't just keep chasing the same fish.
And it's a really good, well-run event that raises money for a good cause, and it's at the Juck. It's a beautiful dam.
Oh, you know what? If you haven't fished a Juck, go do it. It's absolutely magic. It's gorge country to mud flats and whatnot. It's absolutely beautiful.
Just a beautiful spot there. I love it. Great place.
So, Marto, what are your goals for this year?
This year, I'm going to try and fish all the yellow belly tournaments. I think it's, what did we say, 3 teams events.
Yep.
4
FFCs,
the new one, and then the one Bruce one.
AYC 5000, yeah.
And out of all of them, out of the 2 new series, is I want to try and get close as I can to a team of the year thing. The higher up that peg of team of the year I get, the more satisfaction.
Gotcha.
I got, because I don't like. I'm competitive as anyone. I'm over competitive. Anything I do, I like to be competitive at. Not necessarily win and stand on the podium, but just competitive. And I think, I just like to chase that better over the average, and that's what team of the year is. It's best over the average.
Yep.
And that's high up that peg I'd like to get. Not
very good.
So much to take on out.
Yep.
But then this year, everyone, the boys I normally fish with are all out, so our teams might be chopping and changing, but, I think we'll still go all right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Marto, the captain in the boat, mate. You'll be all right.
Got to get your confidence fish.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one thing I've always, when I was fishing with Marto and tournaments, that's the one thing. Pre-fish day, you have to get your confidence fish. Once you get that monkey off your back,
hit the cans. Just
Confidence in a can.
That's what he automatically knows. He teaches you what lure you can tie on and cast the next morning with confidence.
yeah,
Like fishing, no matter where you do it at, is if you've got confidence in the gear and the lure you're using, then that's 90% of what.
Oh, shit, yeah.
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 for
if you
sure.
tie something on because you're only just trying it and it's only brand new, then you're not using it to its full potential. But and that's what I think a lot of people get stuck there because if it's a hard bite, they swap and change all their lures to try and get. If it's the best bite on the planet, then you swap and change because you get confidence in 10 lures. And if it's a hard bite, you swap and change, and then them lures sit in the bottom of your tackle box for the next 10 years. You don't use them.
Yeah,
Yep.
If it's a hard bite, stick to the one lure that you know. If it's a good bite, use as much shit as you can, unpack it, get everything out, and get confidence in how to use that bait. And
for sure.
And then you get confident, and then next time you throw it, it becomes one of your confidence baits. You just fish it differently.
yeah. You got any guesses about how big a cod you're going to get this year?
What's your goal?
What's your
What's your
goal?
biggest
What's your biggest
Cod
cod
goal.
goal for this year?
Oh, it has to be in the river. No other fish counts.
Oh, shit.
Has to be a river meadery.
Yeah, righto. That's
I'm
what you want
cast-
aiming for.
Yeah. I don't fish boat, don't trawl, don't anything. It has to be a cast and retrieve river meadery.
Meadery. That's what your goal's for.
Yeah. Nothing else counts.
I've shot for the stars this year.
You did shoot for the stars.
2 metres out of the river,
And one
one
over.
out of the dam, and one of them has to be over 1.10 m. That's my goal this year. And winter's coming. It's happening.
Yeah.
I know.
Look,
But the
it's
river,
cod
our river,
fishing.
the Macquarie River's fishing that unreal, and the fish are
Yeah.
of that good a quality. I think it's a given for anyone that wants to put in a little bit of time in the Macquarie River at the moment.
Yep.
The big fish are all there on offer.
We've already seen that many meaderies coming out of the river this year.
But just
it's
your general average fish is now like 70s and 80s,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it was 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
Now
that's
it's
right.
70s, 80s.
Just that couple of years rest with the mouse plague, the floods, have given a bit of a rest and they're grown phenomenally.
It's going to, imagine it in like 5 years' time.
Oh, I'm excited. Very fucking excited.
We're gonna be like, oh,
there's a
we
lot
need
of fish
10
now that
metres.
have broken through that size limit, like the peak size limit, so they have to stay there.
Yeah.
But there's a big bulk of fish that have broken through that size bracket that they have to get bigger. They're like,
Yeah, that's right.
unless you want to be arrested and lose your house and your car and your rent.
All the
like,
rest of it, yeah.
It's there. Like in a couple of years, that average is going to go again because there's a big bulk of fish that have broken through that size limit now. Now they can't be touched.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What we love.
So exciting.
Oh, proper.
It's going to be a good couple of years.
Yeah. I should have put in one of those fish should have been on surface because I've never cracked that surface meadery. I've done it
I'm hopeless on
swim baits and hard bodies. I've done all the meaderies on that, but I just need one on surface.
I like going surfacing. I've been surfacing for Barra, I've been surfacing for mackerel.
Oh, yeah.
I've been surfacing everywhere. And my only guarantee is barracuda.
How good has surface fishing been this year? Marto's struggling.
Eh?
Oh, let's bring that up.
Yeah.
Rub his face
might
in
as
it a
well,
little
might as well
bit.
have a fucking dib in it.
Yeah,
No, honestly, me and Paul went out the other night and we started fishing surface early and fished through to 10 o'clock and never raised a tail swell.
Yeah,
With
right.
two of us, and I said, it's not right. Like,
Are you chucking a venom crawlers?
Huh?
Are you chucking a venom crawlers?
I don't know. No.
He wouldn't know what a good lure is.
Nah. What surface
No,
lures are you
no.
chucking, Marto?
Oh, let me think.
Cod wallopers.
No, one would have been I think Paul had a what do you call it?
Don't know.
The jackal.
Oh,
Pompadour.
Pompies. Yep. Great lure.
And I had a sensational lure. Guaranteed to catch every fish in the river. And it was called
Oh, dear. Here we go. You can see the gears ticking.
Yeah.
I actually forgot what.
Bassman, Aussie crawler.
What is it?
No.
Paddler, or is it a wake bait, or is
Yeah, no.
stalker?
It was called. I've gone completely blank.
Ain't this
what it
the
was
best
called.
pause in the potty?
It was a.
Bassman. Give us a brand at least.
What did it look like?
Shit.
I can help you out. I sell these things.
Bassman
I
wake
threw
walker.
the frog. The frog that you hate that catches fish. The big one. The big green hard
Oh,
frog.
Freddy the Frog.
He's a sensational lure.
Wow. No wonder you didn't catch fish.
Oh, come on.
And then I think
Spray?
was that tin. I think there was a mud eye, the tin,
Oh,
the
yeah.
metal front, the aluminium front.
Oh, they're a good lure.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know about your Freddy the Frog. You can put that
He
on
said, have you seen him swim?
like a frog.
He fucking
Nah,
this
couldn't
big,
do
you
it.
fuck him. I can tell you that. I know. He is the best looking frog you've ever seen swim in your life.
Oh, could do it, eh?
He swims well.
It's
Yeah.
just been phenomenal with surface in the river.
Yeah.
Like the last probably since November, like
Yeah.
obviously start of the season, it's just been fucking insane.
But even like with hard bodies, spinner baits, whatever you chuck and swim baits, it's all about accuracy. Like when the last
yeah.
time me and
Yeah.
Az went out, he chucked, what were you chucking? A Decadodge? A Venom crawler.
I might have Decadol John with you.
Yeah, he chucked into this snag and came up a foot short, and I hit it into that fucking golden zone with a stalker, and I came out with the fish.
Yeah. And then same thing happened fucking an hour later.
Yeah.
We behind a log, foot short, and I landed past him. I was like, fuck. And before I could even finish my sentence, he was all over it. I was like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, no, we were hitting right up in the root bulbs underneath the big box trees. You know, you get the root bulbs and you
Yep.
got the over, and we were getting right up in there. And
Yeah,
you just couldn't try
Couldn't
a
raise
fish. But that don't matter. But I caught one on, like, luckily just before we changed over, so that saved that little trip. But we've been doing well. I've got that, like it was an 86 and a 75 and a few small ones just in a little afternoon trip. Like they're there.
Yeah, oh, shit, yeah.
There's some good, very good fish being. If you're looking for a place to come catch cod, Macquarie River is it at the moment, I reckon.
Yeah, like the fisheries have said, it's probably the most consistent fishery for cod for their breeding, is it?
Yeah, breeding and I think it was habitat.
Yeah.
Something to do with that. Yeah.
Yeah, most consistent fishery. So,
You could pretty much say the healthiest river for breeding.
I tried
Yeah.
to bring this up on my little social post the other day about them two different coloured cod at Windermere, but I reckon the Macquarie has two different species of cod.
Oh, fuck yeah. There's a fat one and a skinny
Yeah.
one.
A fat one and a long skinny one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without doubt.
did
Yep.
we touch on this with the breeder down Leeton? That's breeding for
My theory
food?
to conquer it all
Yeah,
is
sorry.
a stocked fish, like a farm bred fish, and a wild fish. Wild bred and then
Yeah, okay.
stocked fish. That's
So
the
you're
way
saying-
I grasp myself around the.
The wild fish
thing?
is the long skinny one.
I
Is that
don't,
what
I
you're
don't know
saying?
which he is, but
Yeah, but they're two breeds.
they're the two. I think it's the stocked fish and the wild fish are the two difference we're seeing.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't
Yeah,
matter what
something different,
size
yeah.
fish it is, whatever length it is. There's a definite longer, thinner one
and
a
fat,
thicker, heavier
stubby. Yeah. So there's a cod fishery, like a meat, not fishery. Sorry, it's a breeder, and they're breeding these cod up for human consumption. So down in Leeton, South Australia, they've got these huge ponds. They're breeding the cod up, and then they get to a certain size, and they put them out to market to eat. All the restaurants and that come out, take them. Anyway, what they're doing is they're doing genetic breeding and selective breeding between certain cod
Yep.
to make a fatter, faster growing cod.
Yeah, we do.
What were they saying for a market value, 45 centimetre cod, they're getting it within, what was it?
I can't remember.
18 months?
Yeah, can't remember the time period, but it's unreal.
When
Yeah,
you
it's
see them down
fucking-
the seafood markets, though, they're not a real big.
No. Well, they
No.
got
Terrible.
yeah. No one's going to buy a 6
someone.
centimetre fish.
Yeah, but someone They would, but they'd definitely be coming up with a quicker growing, more like they've done it with chooks, they've done it with goats, sheep, pig. They did it with everything.
They do it with largemouth bass in America.
That's right.
This is
but not as a food consumption. They do that as a
recreation.
Yeah.
And it's possible. It's just the funding for it is ridiculous. So we could. And the boys in Leighton, like obviously for human consumption, but if you brought that in the recreational fishing side, we could have more than just a 70, 80 centimetre average with the way these genetics are going. Like the Lunker program, I spoke of before, they get a 10-pounder, get another 10-pounder.
Breed them together.
And it's the genetics of those two fish nearly guarantee like a 75% average that those fish are possible 10-pounders again.
Yeah.
And they have literally stocked.
Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ, what was that?
Oh, dear.
Was that you?
I'm not sure.
It's called
Keep going.
So there's a thing in breeding when you're breeding stock and called hybrid vigour.
Yeah.
Where if you get...
It could happen in cod.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it should happen, but it is a possibility where if the funding was in the right place, we could do it.
Yeah.
And it's like you can have, instead of taking 10 years to grow a metre, it depends on the waterway too. I spoke of fisheries with this.
And food.
And food, It definitely comes down to food. But the right place, the right location, right water temperatures, the right combination of genetics will guarantee metre fish in a way shorter period.
Yeah.
Like when I was talking to fisheries when we went to the wedge group meeting, was Copton Dam had everything ticked the boxes for a metre fish. And obviously it's a well-known fishing industry of Copton, like that's your trophy fish dam. But those metre fish there were still young as shit compared to you go down to Mulwala. The Mulwala took an extra 5-8 years to get to a metre, where Copton was ridiculous. I honestly can't remember the exact number, but Copton was phenomenal.
Yeah, but what was that tracked fish they did in Mulwala? Because they tracked a fish that was in its 60s.
Oh, the $1 million fish. Oh, no.
No, it wasn't $1 million fish. They tracked a fish through a tag. It was tagged in Mulwala, and then it was like 5 or 6 years later they found that same tagged fish in the river downstream from the dam, and it had only grown I can't remember the exact figures, but it was like less than 10 centimetres in like 6 years.
Yeah. It's just the environment they grow in.
But can you imagine them getting these genetically superior fish that grow quick, grow fat, grow big, and stick them in somewhere like the Bogan where there's that much food and they can shake a stick at?
Like, to be honest.
Yeah, what I was going to touch on that, I thought before we go down that avenue of making the pinnacle recreational fish, we need to get rid of the carp problem.
Oh,
if we get rid of the carp problem, most of that shit's going to happen naturally.
Hey, I think we can.
And it's already started. It has already started.
I think we can come together and agree that if you grow a superior cod and release that, what's its natural food that's going to be? Carp.
Well, that's not its natural food, is it?
Oh, it's not. Yeah, no, you're right. It's not a natural food, but it's definitely a food source you can chomp on.
Like it's bogan or what's that spangled perch?
Spangled.
Forky
Yeah,
tails.
I've always been great up. They were called the bogan grunner, but spangled. And then there's the bony brim, and that's their probably natural food source.
Well, that's the thing.
And people are worried if we remove carp. Like they got worried when we started removing the willow trees out of the river. Oh, where's carp? Where's the fish going to live? Like, that's not. It was.
They never were there for a while.
They lived well before we were there.
Yeah.
And they didn't have willow trees, so the willow trees can fuck off, carp can fuck off, and just get back into the natural cycle. And you're always going to have them big ones.
Yeah.
Like them old-time photos, I think you just had an episode where there was talking about giant cod and old photos.
Yep.
There was no carp then.
No,
that's right.
Fuck all. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were talking about 200 pounders out of the Namoy or something.
No, it was a fucker out near Walgett.
Oh, Walgett, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, 250 pound.
Yeah. Towed behind the bloody paddle steamer.
Yeah. But look, and that's the stories we all like too. But like coming back to the genetic thing is, yeah, we'd all love to see it. The funding is ridiculous. But
yeah,
going back to what Marto said, we fix our problems, it's going to happen quicker naturally, which is, you bang on, like, fuck the carp off. We need something to sort that out. Like, you go back to don't quote me, I think it was the late 70s, early 80s when the Murray River choked full of carp. And all of a sudden...
Penguins and pelicans, mate.
And all of a sudden, like over 4 or 5 years, the carp started to really distinguish, and all these stupidly sized cod were coming out.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was a natural occur. Like, all these carp were there. All of a sudden, there's just monster Murray cod, and it become one of the well-known fisheries for Australia of the Murray cod. And it happened naturally through a carp disaster.
And this is my theory, and poke holes in it all you want, but this is my theory. Barrandong Dam, as everyone's sitting around this table right now knows, it's a hard cod fishery.
Hands down.
It is a hard cod fishery. But
Barrandong curse, we like to call it.
Barrandong curse.
Barrandong curse.
But my theory on it is it's so hard to catch cod and barrandong right now is because they have way too much food at their disposal.
Oh, redfin are swimming into their mouth.
Redfin is swimming in the mouth. Carp. The amount of carp upstream.
Both introduced.
Yeah, both introduced. They have stupid amounts of food at their disposal. Why would they give a shit about a lure swimming over their head?
Something that only looks 60% real. Like, yeah, you're dead right.
Yeah. I mean, look at your 87 last year that came out of Barrandong. It was a stonking fish. Like, it, for weight, pound to pound, it put the fish out of, I caught a Windermere last weekend, to shame. And it was a smaller
It was honestly
fish.
probably, like, I'm not bagging you, mate. Like,
No, I understand.
Mate, but that 87 I caught out of Barrandong was a fatter fish and heavier fish.
Way fatter. And where'd you find it?
In a fucking carp school
of carp.
Yeah, in a carp school.
Yeah.
And that literally swimming with the carp.
And you see I've seen a couple of guys troll them up. They get 1.15 out of Muckawar trolling up stumpies and that sort of stuff. And how fat are they?
Oh,
They're
stupid.
44-gallon drum fat.
Yeah.
So that's my little theory. I think there's too much food in Barrandong. Cod aren't going to look at a lure because they're too well fed.
They are too well fed.
Yeah.
And you've got to think that Barrandong is probably one of I shouldn't say probably, it is one of the biggest dams
It is.
on the east coast of Australia. Like,
Fucking
it is a
huge.
monster that people don't even see most of it.
Yeah.
And they never see half of it.
Yeah.
It is a monster. There's a lot of water for any type of fish to travel for miles that you'd never ever see.
Yeah. Like what was said before on the podcast, and we looked the figures up, it's 7 times bigger than Sydney Harbour, water-wise. So you factor that in, 7 times bigger, and you try and cover water on that. You try and find big fish in that. That is something that also has stupid amounts of bait fish in it.
Yeah.
And that's why it is.
Even when sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right. Go.
When it comes down to yellowbelly fishermen,
Yeah.
you can go to the main basin there and there'll be yellowbelly everywhere. Go there 3 months later and you can go around all your major points in that main bowl and you can't even find a yellowbelly.
Yeah.
And we've got the technology now to see it
Yeah, that's right.
and they've gone. And then you can travel around for a day and not see one. You think, there's no, where the fuck? And
Where'd they go?
where they go. But there's that much water there and that much places for them to go and disappear. And that's yellowbelly.
Yeah.
So
Imagine
if you were
the
trying to, imagine the cod. There's endless amounts of water they can swim around in.
Yeah.
Even going back to redfin, like, have you ever noticed when the dam's full, you get them in fucking plagues? When the dam gets low,
Drops, they
you
disappear.
don't even see them on
They get
live
smashed.
scope.
When the dam was down to 1.5%, Riles, who's the guy to redfin catches them for a pot, couldn't even see one at 1.5%. But I think when they come to congregate, they become a very, very easy food source, and they were just being smashed.
Halfway through this podcast, I thought about it. Riles is going to kill me. He's not out here. He was begging me on the weekend. I said, yeah, mate, when your old man comes out, we'll fucking get... And he was like, yeah. And like halfway out here, I was like, oh, shit.
I'm sure he'd love to do, like, be a junior and just talk about what he does.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
Catching fish from Daddy Marto.
Riles
He's been
is
in tournaments. He's
jig fish
was involved
specialist.
in our winning AFC team.
Yep.
He gets a bit. He's 15 now. Very good. Become
15
very good
now.
basketball player. Wants to be a mechanic. Like it's just at that time now where he's branching out a few other things and
nothing wrong with that.
fishing's become a. I suppose, and this has been Dad being jealous because I've just lost my best friend. But he's getting other interest. But if he were like his mates at school, I'll talk to him about fishing, and people talk to him about fishing all the time. But he's just found other interest, I suppose, at the moment. But he'll come back. Like
for sure.
He's good at it.
We all do.
Yeah,
I just never left it. I was too retarded to find anything else better.
Yeah. Well, when I grew up, it was all fishing, younger fishing, and then I hit my mid-teens and it was all music. That's all I ever wanted to do, music. And then after music faded away, it's all fishing again.
Yeah, no,
I remember
currently at
meeting
this
you.
stage, he's basketball and he's looking for a trade. Like he works every shift he can at Macca's, and he's got a very healthy bank account for a 15-year-old because he never turns one back. But he wants to be a diesel mechanic and then come to the family business, and he's got a real passion for basketball at the moment.
There you go.
And he's loving it. So,
but the thing me and Az have noticed, like you guys put up a lot of videos on the Outback Predator site, Facebook page, and whatever else you got. The thing we noticed with Riles, his jigging technique for redfin,
we spoke about that before.
Is unreal.
Yeah.
He
and you
is
can
so
sit beside him and try and do it, and he
you can't mimic him.
He bangs you. Like he just, I don't know, it's just that short little stab he got and then gets it. And then, but I've sat there with him and I think I'll try and copy it. And then he outfished you like 3 or 4 to 1.
Yeah.
Or he'd be coming up with two redfin on the trebles and you're sitting there and he'll have one on each hook. That's just, he's got a
knack
good
for
little
it.
technique.
Yeah.
And because and Nan and Pop, it comes down to family. Nan and Pop asking like, can you get them, give us a feed of fish, like bring home some redfin. So then if Rolls gets in the boat, he says,
we need redfin, Dad.
Yeah, we're going to get some Nan and Pop some.
Yeah.
Like where I'm trying to work things out or try new stuff or just muck around with new lures or, mad fisherman just got
brains sticking about
it. He just says, I've got to get Nan and Pop to feed fish, and he's looking after Nan and Pop.
Yeah. And like his mindset to me is like something Carl Jacobson had. So like if he switched on and he really enjoyed fishing, he's gonna be fucking unreal at it. Like to the point where all us old farts are gonna sit around a fire and fucking Rolls is up in the boat tying leaders and going, "You boys got no fucking hope." And like it is dead, and that's me coming as a 28-year-old going, righto, this is the next generation coming through.
Mate, what? You're young enough. You are the new generation coming through.
I fucking peaked at fishing when I was about 23. Guaranteed. 23 and I've gone backwards. I've only won fucking 3 comps since 23. Oh, no. Yeah. But anyway.
But
that's
the thing, though. Like, as you grow older, like, you get more concentrated in the work, you get more concentrated in the family, that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
You start to lose that little bit of, every waking moment is fishing. But it starts,
Like I've been, in saying that, my biggest life goal out of everything in my life is I want a family and I want to do it right. But as much as I want a family, my whole thing in the back of my head since I've been 18 is going, if I have a family, it takes away my fishing. So I'm like, oh, shit. But it's not
you can't look at it like that. Like,
no, exactly.
Marto, you can speak to this. You've had 3 boys.
That's true, boys.
You've been fishing ever since you were
The 2 older boys are probably sick to death of Dad fishing, but I take them everywhere. I used to take them out fishing, mud crabbing, barra for tournaments, take him everywhere. And that was before Riley's now, he was too young up there, I suppose, up in Queensland. The older boys, I took them everywhere. Like, we used to fish 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
Like, I used to work out the end of the coal terminal, and if it was flat when we were going off the coal terminal, put the tin in and go out the front and catch sweet lip or whatever we might have been chasing. If it was too rough, we'd go in the mangrove creek up behind the house at Slonica Beach and go fishing for tarpon and threadfin salmon and barra and put the crab pots in. And I think at one stage here, I think the boys overdosed on fishing. They were just overgoing fishing with Dad, the two older boys. Like now they don't probably come out of Dad as much. Where Ryle's never experienced it, just that full on.
That full on,
and he comes with it in the tournaments. But Ryle's more loves it for the you fellas.
Yeah.
That's what he loves.
Yeah.
Like if he says, we're going fishing, and he says, the boys going, and he'd rather sit around the camp listening to you fellas pissed talking and then he'll go out and catch a fish just to impress you.
Yeah.
But he just wants the moment, I suppose.
Yeah.
When we go on our fishing trips. But then, then it's looking after Nana Pop. Nana Pop want to feed fish, I'll come out and bang him.
He's doing them.
Yeah.
And he impresses us a lot. Like for a young fella like that, he is a gun fisher for fucking sure. Now, just to touch back on to you fishing up in Queensland.
Yep.
What's your PBs up for there, mate? What's your PB barra, sooties? Did you ever get into the togas or anything?
No. I fished, went up a few times to the World Championship Sooty.
Yep.
Sooty World Championships at Youngler Dam.
Yeah.
Great weekend run by I think it's the Pioneer Valley Fishing Club or something like that. Do stock Youngler Dam. Like Youngler Dam's it's like Windermere. Youngler Dam's the home of the sooty grunter.
Oh, right.
Youngler,
Gotcha.
It's up the top of the range. So if you ever want to be a major sooty fisherman, Youngler Dam's Youngler Dam's
where you want to go?
Windermere to Yellowbelly. Youngler Dam's.
That's my goal.
Can
you just do a quick comparison between Yellowbelly and sooty?
They're very similar.
Built virtually similar. They're the similar build.
I eat the same shit.
Have you ever caught like a mangrove jack? Say a mangrove jack.
Yeah.
Convert him into a freshwater fish, and that's what your
sooty is.
Will hit and take you home before you realise you know what you're doing. And he smacks harder, and he's going home.
Yeah.
He just fights better. The old terminology is he'll pull a yellowbelly backwards. If you were to put time together, a sooty grunter's going home and a yellowbelly's wondering what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, right, gotcha.
A sooty grunter, he's a
Ford F-150 versus D-Max.
He's a solid fish that looks, if you were to paint him the same colour, there's not a hell of a lot of difference. But he's just...
Yeah, okay.
He just knows what he wants.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a meaner
type
of fish. So
PB sooty is...
I think... I can't really remember.
I think it is a long
49
line.
or something like that.
Yeah, righto. Yep, solid. Barra
for me is 92.
Oh, so close to that
but
meter.
I've had 100 and I've been in the boat with me and I took me fucking old brother-in-law from Hermit out there and he got 107.
Oi. In front of you?
119.
Was he in front? Was that in front of you?
No, it was in the boat. We drank a bottle of red.
Yeah, like in the same boat.
In the same boat.
Yeah, in the boat. Yeah, the boats. I've seen plenty of meters, but I just never caught one. I've had hooks busted. I've had treble split there, but not mine. No. I'm not gonna lie, mine's only 92.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But I did get a 52 centimetre mangrove.
Oh
jack
yeah, cracker
in the mangroves.
Yeah,
like say 50 centimetre mangroves actually like your pinnacle, but that's
and
then after that like. They move out to the reef and then
they become red
monsters.
bass. Red bass. Does that call them? They move out.
Oh,
Aaron,
I don't think so.
What's that?
What do they call mangrove jack when they move out to sea?
Jack.
Oh yeah, no, it's still mangrove jack.
We used to catch them in amongst the finger mark. When you it was a finger mark.
I thought they called them red bass.
The same type of species.
No, you're talking to
Chinaman fish.
Right, yeah, gotcha.
But a mangrove jack, once he gets to a certain age, he moves out of the reef.
Yeah.
So your pinnacle of mangrove jack is 50. And I got 52.
Oh mate,
jack.
Have you heard of mine? My first mangrove jack, mate, fucking buried me. Like it was like going. No, I'm not going to say that. But okay, so hook this thing, First mangrove jack, didn't know what it was, but I kind of did because it went so fucking hard. Anyway, halfway through the flight, I'm like, this is it. This is my mangrove jack.
36.
Oh, keep going.
Smaller.
34.
Mate, he was...
A touch over 150.
if I stretched him, he was 28 centimetres. But turned me inside out on 6-pound line.
They're based.
6-pound line.
Yeah, 6-pound line at the Gold Coast.
When you're in a crystal clear mangrove creek, you can watch them come out in front of your lure and turn back and hit your lure on the way back.
Really?
Like they don't chase.
Is that why they hit so hard? They turn straight back to the mangroves.
Yeah, so they've already turned. Like he'll
Yeah.
swim out beside your jerk bait or whatever you're using.
Yeah.
Come out, turn in front of it, and he's already
Crack it
heading
back
home
in.
as he hits it on the way back home.
Right.
When you watch them in the mangroves sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's how I imagine cod hit sometimes because they come out and they come under and they hit the front. That's why you catch
Yeah, they
most
hit
cod.
head first.
Yeah, they hit head first to try and go back to their log.
Yeah.
But obviously,
He's already on his way back.
yeah,
But
mangroves are a bit
when you're
more
fishing
vicious.
in the mangroves, like when you're fishing in the mangroves up there, everything just fights a bit harder. Like
Yeah.
everything's just got that bit more money.
Will to live.
Yeah. Yeah, like even there's little spotty cod, gold spot cod
Yeah.
that hit you, and they're the most annoying fish on the planet because you don't want them. They do jam a lure hard, like they hit
Yeah, right.
they hit it hard, but they
Yeah.
just you don't want them.
What about threadies? You ever caught threadies up there? Threadfin
Yes.
salmon?
Love it. Proserpine River, mud flats.
Just
Wind the lure as fast
tied
as you
out?
can. No, tied up.
Tied up? That's when you want... You hit
Tied
it?
up, and you ram the tinny into a mud flat,
Yeah.
and then start fishing the shallowest water as you can, and you'll see the prawns and the mullet start
Flick
slipping
up.
around, and
Yeah.
it's usually the threadies chasing them, and then you fish your lure, and we used to use a lure back then called hollow bellies,
Hollow
soft
bellies.
plastic.
Yeah.
Fucking
Did you
Berkeley
see
Hollow
Berkeley
Belly.
Hollow?
Berkeley hollow bellies, yeah.
Throw them out as far as you can across, and wind your reel as fast as you can,
Yeah.
because they
They'll
got
crack
they
you.
got big.
They've got the big
tentacle
whiskers on
things,
them.
whiskers,
yeah.
So if
Kinda
they
like
feel
a
your
fucking-
lure, if it feels false, they won't bite it. But if you're upper,
Yeah.
they don't get the
feel
chance
it.
and they'll just smack it.
Ah, righto.
So-
And I've
Yeah.
heard thready's pretty good on the teeth, eh?
It is the best eaten fish
Yeah.
in the world.
I
Hey?
have heard that. Yeah, like blokes
than
are going,
Nana guys?
This is the story when
Coral trout?
The story, and we'll probably get chipped for this, but the story I got from old school Bowen people,
Yeah.
old school Bowen people, was before fish sales got regulated. The netters used to go out and net the mangrove creeks, as they do now.
Yeah.
But they used to net a lot of threadfin salmon and bluefin blue salmon or whatever the snub
Yeah.
goes one.
Stumpy, yeah.
But threadfin salmon used to net a lot of them in amongst and the barra. So they'd fill it and sell it as the same type of fish because that was the high premium.
Righto, yeah.
So people were buying barra threadfin salmon fillets when they thought they were buying barra
barra.
fillets. So everyone said, "Oh, barra's the best eaten fish in Queensland," and really they were eating threadfin salmon. And until the market got regulated,
Yeah.
and it said, "No, you've got to sell
The fish you've
the
caught.
actual fish
yeah.
you caught," then it went
Yeah, I have heard
out the
that.
window.
Oh, really?
But
Like
all the old school people in Bowen swear to God that's how the story happened.
Yeah.
Barra got their name off threadfin salmon.
Salmon.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, right.
Yeah, so thready, like a lot of people I know that are fished up north and do it, they're like, mate, we can catch barrel all day. We get a thready, it's going in the ice bucket. Like,
And they got big-
they're proper good.
Down their backbone, they've got big nodules. So a
Yeah.
barra you can fill it a barra within seconds. It's just flat and then
Yeah.
you just whip it up. But the salmon have got big nodules down the back. So you hit a nodule, then you've got to come up and
Up
over.
over and over, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're not prepared for it, you can butcher the bastard out of it. Like, it's the worst fillet, but it
Yeah.
is the best eaten fish on the planet. And on a shallow mangrove, on a mud flat in the mangroves, they whistle like you can hear your line whistling through the water with a little rooster tail coming off it, where they're just
Oh,
taking
cut
it from
water
that.
like a
Yeah.
fresh like a
Oh,
carp.
shit, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a
but
carp.
twice as quick, twice as
Oh,
fast.
I would expect that.
And then we used to use hollers, but then things come out like Trans Ams and
Fish
now
traps.
Fish traps are the
Yeah.
number one thing to throw over the mud flat. Fish
That-
traps are up there. The boys like Daniel Gregor, they just fish traps, so they go.
Yeah,
All them
zero
little
fish
soft
traps.
vibes,
I'm not talking
'cause it
about
feels-
bloody wire mesh here, but
because it feels soft. The tentacles don't get a chance, and and it's going quick. Then
the
they
tail's
smash
going.
it.
Yeah, right.
They'll just smash. So any of them soft vibes up there over the big mud flats,
Trans Am,
and it's on
fish
the
traps,
incoming
whatever.
tide, and you wedge your boat up, like send your boat at the mud flat, get it up, sitting up on the mud,
Yeah.
and let the tide slowly come up. And every time it starts to float again, drive it forward.
up.
And you can see around the big mud flat, especially in Proserpine River, you can see the prawns and the mullet just going apeshit, like launching out of the water because there's the big threadies are on, and they're the gun.
They're
They're
the
the
go.
number one fish.
Fuck. Well, that's pretty interesting. I've learnt a fuckload tonight about that.
Oh, threadies.
Yeah.
Mud crab. Bathe yourself in mud crab.
Yeah, you said you've been a big fan of mud crab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's just my type of fish. Like there's yabbiers. You know, when you go yabbie and they start pissing.
You're tired.
The thongs and the short, the singlet.
Yeah.
We go up there and there's like the pinnacle barra fishermen. They've got all the latest flashes fishing shirts on, the newest lures. And then you see a bloke with his mud crab pots and he's got a fucking beer gut and a few stubbies and his thongs and he's
That's
going
us.
out smashing the fucking mud crab.
Yeah.
And then still catches the barra while he's waiting for the mud crabs to catch. But there's that two different types of people.
Yeah.
And I like to think I'm the
mud
old
crab top.
crabber.
I've never actually tasted mud crab. What are you liking
Yeah,
it to? Is it similar to the yabby or
Nah.
I got
It's
straight up the back?
It's like a big fleshy brown mud crab is
Sweet flesh, like a crab.
got to cook it. Yeah, this is the secret. You have to cook it in salt seawater.
Oh, you have to cook it in salt water.
Don't go mix up fresh water and put salt in it. You got to get seawater from the boat ramp before you pull out, and cook it in that, and then it's
Unreal.
beautiful, sweet. Yeah.
Ah, righto.
That's probably the biggest thing I learned from Bowen and all the professional mud crabs over there is if you're going to cook them at home, cook them in seawater.
Yeah,
and clean
don't cook them
seawater.
fresh.
No. And don't even try and mix your own seawater because it's never the same.
No.
Just cook them straight out
You
seawater.
never get it right.
Yeah, you never
Yeah.
get it right. And so we used to always, we used to catch them up in the mangroves where it's a bit muddy and a bit tame, a bit shit in the water.
Yeah.
And we used to come home to the boat ramp out the front near the coal terminals, the port, and get a bucket of water and then go home and cook them in the seawater, and then they're spectacular.
Chef's kiss.
Chupapi Munano.
Righto. Well, I think we've talked your
The
ears off
absolute ear
enough.
at everyone.
Yeah.
Which
And-
is good.
For sure. And I think we'll definitely have you back on for another chat because there's so
absolutely.
many more stories to go on.
I
with.
know, there's lots and lots.
And I'll put that in here. Like anyone listening, if you just want to get on to Daddy Marto and his young fella rolls, get on to Outback Predator Fishing.
Yep.
He's on all the
Have a look.
socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Get on it. He does some absolute cracking videos of catching fish. He absolutely knows what he's doing, and he
Yep.
loves to talk to people. So, you just got a question, shoot him a message, mate.
Yep.
He's
I'll help anyone.
All
I
the-
love to help people.
absolutely. So, it's been a privilege to have you on, mate. Absolutely. A few tins over the chat. Cracking talk, mate.
Crack and chalk.
Yeah, cracking chalk.
Yeah, there's cracks and
Penguins
chalk.
and pelicans.
Penguins and pelicans.
Righto.
Well, before we finish, don't forget we've got the mental health lure board happening. So if you're happy to send in a lure to help out mental health lure board,
Are You Okay? That's the one we're sponsoring at the moment. So send it in. 56 Macquarie Street, Dubbo. Attention Codtails podcast. We have quite a few up on the board we still need to get out. But we're always welcome to donors.
yeah, that's right. You know, our goal is 10,000. If we raise 10,000 for mental health,
We're almost up to that 5 mark.
we're nearly there.
So
mate.
close to that
Absolutely nearly
$5,000
there.
mark.
It's a whisk
I tell
ahead.
you what, I've known about this ever since it was an idea in you boys' head. Ever since this whole thing was an idea in you boys' head, and I said, just how good it was. I've been that proud of what you've done and what you've turned it into. And then to have this mental health thing going and the board, and it's just a bloody credit to you both. Like I spent a
Cheers,
lot of
mate.
time with this. I've had a lot of beer with this. I've talked a lot of shit with this. Yeah, it's
I
just a
appreciate it,
dead
mate.
set credit, and I love watching it grow. He's been asking me to come on the show. Like,
It's been a while.
No. You just run your ideas and do it, and what you turn it into is spectacular.
Yeah.
It's
It
a credit
was-
to both of you.
We dug our heels in
mother.
and we're making it happen, mate. We want to make a change in the world. We want to make a change in mental health. So
Let's
that's
go.
our goal. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it with everyone that fishes with us and listens to us, and that's our goal.
Let's go.
And before we go, we do have some tournament shirts coming up, so keep an eye out on that.
And
got
a
some-
couple of hats.
And hats. Tournament shirts. We've got hats coming.
Look,
Brag mats are still available. We've still got some stubby
Stubby
holders
holders.
left.
Another 10 centimetres on the brag.
So listen out. Keep an
Shirts-
eye on our socials.
yeah, shirts and hats will be limited edition. We have ordered very limited numbers. Brag mats and stubby holders, go your hardest. We will always order
And I promise
more.
you, there is a very good percentage going to men's mental health or mental health in
That's
that
right.
fact.
Profits
So-
are to that. That's all we're doing, mate.
In all in this, me and Dane don't make $1 out of it. We're here to have a chat and have a yarn and have a fat time talking to some of the absolute experts around here and around the Central West, including Queensland and Victoria, about fishing. So that's us, and here we are making a change, including you guys helping us out throughout this thing.
Righto. Well, that is our cue to end it up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll catch us next time.
Right, guys. See yous.